NIL and what it was intended to be and what they thought it was going to be, and what, I don't know the numbers, but 98% of it is not. It's pay for play. So I just think that there's a lot of evolving things, and that issue, happened there, and so you just got to be aware of it.
He's talking about Jaden Rashada and the situation with Billy Napier in Florida. Billy Napier saying yesterday that he is comfortable with the way he handled the situation, but could not get into any details because of the litigation. I agree with you, Stephen. Talking with your hands baton has been passed from Nick Saban to Lane Kiffin. He did have some Saban-like hand movements there and some pounding of the thing. But one thing Lane was doing sort of there that Nick Saban always did at this event. He always used this as a platform for a talking point that to have people discuss in the summer.
Yeah.
For Lane Kiffin there, it's about NIL. And a little shot at the rule makers of college athletics, that you make these rules and you don't think about if we follow this rule, what are the ramifications? What are the other things that happen down the line?
Yeah.
NIL has become one of those things.
Yeah, I think it's also something that's constantly evolving, and it's hard to necessarily make those decisions and those rules, because at the end of the day, the people having to enact them, they're not at that level that the rule makers are at. They're enacting these bylaws and ramifications and things like that, but actually implementing them is a completely different story that the coaches are now having to deal with.
Yeah, 100%. So the SEC meetings continue. There'll be more news out of it later today, and we'll have it for you tomorrow. Brownie and LT will be back with us tomorrow as well. Last night in basketball, the NBA series continued with Minnesota surviving Dallas, so we ended up not getting a sweep there. We're going to get a Game 5. Big game from Karl Anthony Towns and from Anthony Edwards there, 105-100. It ended an amazing streak. Kyrie Irving, 14-0 in opportunities to close out his opponents in his career. That was the first time he's lost a game with the opportunity to close out an opponent.
That's incredible. What a stat.
Now he's 14-1.
So pretty good.
Chances are he'll be 15-1. They'll close him out in the next game. Dallas and Minnesota. Ant says he thinks there will be a game number 6 coming up. Hockey continues tonight as well. Florida last night in OT beating the Rangers 3-2. We get a little Edmonton and Dallas tonight. Edmonton trying to even that series up with Dallas. All right, your thoughts. What did you think of the show?
Oh, I think it was great. Thank you for letting me sit in and being patient with me as I tell my stories.
Well, I appreciate you doing that.
Yeah, thank you.
It's always really good to have you hang out here.
No, I think it was fun. I think we got along super well. There was no Braves discussion that went poorly.
Little T comes back tomorrow.
Yes.
You have a vacation coming soon?
Yes, I do. I have a wedding Saturday.
You didn't tell us about this.
This Saturday?
Yeah. And then rehearsal dinner Friday, bridal luncheon Friday, and then head to the beach on Sunday.
Yeah. So you're out next week?
Until next Thursday.
The next Thursday.
Yeah.
Well, if I don't see you before you head off to wedding season.
Thank you.
Thank you for everything you do for us. We appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you, Dunaway.
Yep.
Have fun on I guess you're going on for 5 years, the way you were saying goodbye to you?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, have fun with it, okay?
Well, it does seem like Little T's been gone forever, right?
Yeah. European vacation. Man.
European summer.
Yeah.
She comes back tomorrow, and we'll break down what Little T did on vacation. But you can get an inside look at the Korn family on their European version of Uncorked. It's available right now wherever you get our podcast, including on the YouTube channel. Uncorked is Taylor Korn's look at life. And a good meltdown coming up later today, a new live version at 2 o'clock. The only thing I didn't get to on my sheet today, I was going to have them come in and show us an example of their trivia game they play.
Oh, my goodness.
But the next time I host a show without the guys, we'll do that.
Okay.
Thanks for being with us. Until next time, God bless you and God bless America.
Golf season is here, and if you're looking for a great golf course with affordable rates, you need to check out the newly renovated Woodward Golf Club. Woodward Golf Club is a semi-private club with membership opportunities available, but is also open to the public. You can book tee times online at this hidden gem by going to golfwoodward.com. For only $195 per month, you can enjoy unlimited golf 7 days a week. Membership includes discounted cart fees, unlimited range balls, and the use of our practice facilities. For more information on memberships and the course, check us out online at golfwoodward.com.
Take TNR on the go with a podcast built for your satisfaction. Miss Hour 1? Find it in podcast form. Miss Hour 2? Stream it now. Miss Hour 3? Download it for later. Miss Hour 4? Well, just know it's never coming back. Listen to TNR wherever you find podcasts.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Live show now on a Thursday as we roll into a big day in college athletics. The SEC meeting's wrapping up. We get new kick times for the entire first 3 weeks of the Big 12 and the SEC today. Some already leaking out. We'll get those to you coming up in the show today. Brown's making a delivery. We'll talk about that before he gets out of here. His second place finish in the bracket challenge, his punishment today. Auburn's the national champions in golf. We'll get reaction to that. But we'll start off, guys, with the big news that we waited on yesterday. The deadline was midnight. And Mark Sears and Jaron Stevenson both returning to Alabama. Your reaction first, LT, on Mark Sears coming back.
Well, you got an All-American coming back, and I really don't know. Not a surprise to me. I've said it for the last couple of months. I believe his best option is to come back, make NIL money, build off that Final Four run. He was an All-American last year. He's going to be a preseason first-team All-American. Alabama's going to be a preseason top-5 team, and he is a major cog. If he doesn't come back, I don't think the expectation is this team could possibly win a national championship. With him back, they are one of the favorites to win the national championship, and I think it's great for him. He said he wants to work on being a defensive standout. He wants to work on being more of a vocal leader, and he wants to win a national championship. Saying all the right things. He tested the waters. He decided to come back. Not surprised.
Again, I think in this world of athletics, and to me, this is one of the upsides of NIL. A lot of people don't like NIL, and I get that. But this is one of the upsides to me. This is risk-free for him. I mean, what is the risk in him coming back? I mean, I don't think there is one. I mean, you're going to make more money at Alabama than you would have made in the developmental league.
People would say injury, but you can get injured, if he's playing in the G League.
Yep, he can get injured in the G League. He can also get insurance against an injury. I mean, I don't know what the downside is based on what we probably think he'll make NIL money-wise. Far more than what he would have made in a G League situation. He was not a guaranteed first rounder. He's not going to be guaranteed to be picked in the first round. So there was there's not necessarily a guarantee of a contract. You are guaranteed money at Alabama. I don't know what you could do to hurt your stock. And I mean, again, he's the thing that he could do best is grow 2 inches. Yeah, he's not going to do that.
Yeah,
at
the
Alabama.
Unfortunate thing is he's not going to grow.
I know. I mean, so what's your risk right now?
The release that went out and the way everyone was reporting 6'1", Mark Sears.
I saw that.
Is he 6'1"?
No, he is not. That's not what he measured.
He measured it 5, much like you, 5'10" in inches.
Yeah, when I saw 6'1" Mark Sears, I was like, he did grow.
Yeah.
No wonder he was getting good feedback. He said he was getting good feedback.
There's a
mic on back there.
Rockstar. Yeah, we got somebody sneezing.
Yeah, look, if he was 6'1",
bless you, by the way,
he would be in this draft. And I think he would be back into the first round. That's what's so weird about this, like how an inch or two can make that big of a difference.
Yeah, at some point he'll get a shot. He worked out with the Bucks yesterday. He says he got good feedback. Averaged 21 points a game. Jaron Stevenson came back. There was belief at one point yesterday that Stevenson could stay in the draft because you're drafting up potential. He's got NBA size, and some people would take him and as a project, somebody who'd be good in 2 years or something. But he's coming back as well. So 13 strong. That roster is loaded. Like we talked to Justin Hokanson yesterday about Auburn. Loaded, versatile. And I took a swing at a starting 5 last night.
For Auburn?
For Alabama.
I've got one, too. I want to see how we match up.
And,
I didn't see your video.
And it's impossible. It's impossible to come up with a starting 5.
I feel good about mine.
Oh, I think it is possible. I think I know the starting 5.
Okay. You go first. Tell me if it's starting 5 out.
I will go with Grant Nelson.
Okay, he was in mine.
Cliff Amorier.
Big Cliff is in mine.
Ryland Griffin.
No longer on the team.
No longer on the team.
Then he's not.
So Lance is out.
Chris Youngblood.
Yeah.
Chris Youngblood was not on mine. That was the one that everyone, when they watched my video.
Sears and Wrightsell. That'll be my 5.
Yeah. I went Sears, I went Wrightsell, and then I left open. I was like, Sears, maybe he's, runs a 2. Nate likes to run 2-point guards out there. He could be 1 point. You could have a true point guard out there. Rothstein threw in Aiden Holloway.
I'd be surprised at that.
Yeah,
At
I
the
feel
point.
better about. I feel better about Youngblood.
Sears and Youngblood. Youngblood was the co-AAC Player of the Year.
I'd go Sears, Youngblood, Reitzel, Nelson, big dog.
Yeah, everyone
in the
was
middle.
like, Reitzel's not going to be a starter. He'll be off the bench. Sixth
I
guy.
don't know.
First guy off the bench.
The way that guy can shoot.
Yeah.
And Nate Oates loves him. And
What?
he's the only thing he did to lose playing time was get injured. I mean, he did not play his way out of the lineup. He just injured his way out of the lineup.
Brody says Sears, Youngblood, Reed, Nelson, and Big Cliff down low there. Daniel says Reitzel will start. I saw one scenario where it's all fifth-year seniors that start. I mean, it'd be one of the oldest teams that you could put on the floor possibly.
Yeah.
But they do have 3 big recruits that are coming in that you factor into the rotation. Much like yesterday, Hoke was saying he thinks this is Bruce Pearl's most versatile lineup with 3 returning starters at Auburn, and the guys they have coming in that he thinks they can. Last year they sort of did line shifts and played 10 deep. Thinks they can move parts around and be more versatile this year. I mean, Nate Oates has 13. I mean, who are going to be the guys doing the 3 goggles and shooting the bow and arrows at the end of the bench? I mean, you've got 13 scholarship guys who all could be starters.
Yeah, the walk-ons. Those guys, I mean, you got to have a scout team. Nate's
biggest challenge is going to be getting these guys to buy into limited minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, guys like Nelson and Sears, they're going to get their minutes. Amorie is going to get his minutes. But the other guys, the other 2-3 guys, they're going to have to figure out that rotation. And if a guy's only playing 10 or 12 minutes, but he's contributing and they're winning basketball games and possibly winning a championship, if you can get those guys to buy into that mentality, that's going to be the biggest challenge.
It's funny on Stevenson. I talked to somebody last night, a friend of mine last night that is now – I'm not pretending he's close to the Stevenson family, and he's not suggesting that, but he's close to the situation is what I would say. And he was like, what I'm about to say is going to – because he said, you saw Sears is coming back. I know you're off the show today. And I was like, yeah, I did see that. And he says, so I guess they're waiting on Stevenson. And I said, well, he's got to come back, right? He's not going to get drafted. He's like, I normally would agree with you, but there are a lot of people kind of around him. And he goes, this sounds crazy, but they think he'll get more playing time in the G League than he would at Alabama.
Yeah.
And I was like, that does sound crazy.
No,
but it's not the craziest thing I've ever heard when you start thinking about it.
Well, as a freshman, he averaged a little over 16 minutes per game. I mean, how much more is that going to go up this year?
And that was the point he made. He didn't have the number, but he's got go look at what his average minutes were this year. Do you think he'll have more this coming season? I was like, I can't swear that he would. No.
My question would be: is Sears on the floor more this year? I mean, or the same?
Well, he can't be on more.
Yeah, I mean, he played 38 minutes in some, 36 minutes in most.
He went a full 40 in some. Yeah.
I mean, is he going to do that again this year?
I don't think so.
I think so. Yeah.
Wow. More platooning as the season goes on to be fresher at the end.
I think you could see Nate Oates maybe buy Sears with a talented guard like Aiden Holloway. Changes your offense a little bit, right? He's not the scorer Sears is, but he can capably run the point and feed the ball.
There's going to be some games at Alabama I think will have a comfortable lead.
Maybe so.
And then I think Sears gets minutes, gets some rest at the end of some of those games. But I think in tight games, I think he's going to be playing 36, 38 minutes.
If you got a dead ball at the 9-minute mark, and I got a media timeout coming to the under 8, that might be a time where you get Holloway in to get a minute or two while Sears gets a rest. For that minute and the TV timeout.
But how's that going to make Holloway happy?
Well, there's no promise of happiness in this world. You got to earn your spots out there. And Aiden Holloway is not as good as the rest of the guys we mentioned.
Biggest challenge in transfer portal times is getting these guys minutes and making them happy. And all these guys aren't going to get the minutes they want, so they're going to have to buy into a team concept.
A couple things still on this topic as we get rolling here today, as the show's being brought to you in part by our friends at Bandwagon Sports.
Yeah, it is the place to go for the next round family. We want you to jump on the bandwagon and go to Bandwagon Sports. And especially right now, if you are in the Birmingham area, Edgewood and Cobb Heights, 2 great locations right there of Bandwagon Sports. If you're ready to go to the beach, Bandwagon Sports has you covered. Brands like Chubby's, Bird Dogs, Task, and Southern Tide. Great at the pool, great at the beach, great at the lake. Everything you need for the summer ahead. Cobb Heights and Edgewood. Next round, jump on the bandwagon. Find out more at bandwagonsports.com. That's bandwagonsports.com.
All right, so a couple of tweets that was in our timelines last night. Forrester, let's go with Blake first. Blake Vaughn's tweet bringing up a great point here, and I've checked this out. Crazy to think that Alabama basketball has better odds to win the national championship than the football team does this upcoming season.
That's insane.
Checking live this morning.
It's got to be close.
With our friends at MyBookie, Alabama basketball plus 1,200 to win the national championship. Alabama football plus 1,400 to win the national championship. So technically, Blake is right. Alabama basketball, better odds to win the national championship than Alabama football right now.
If you put me in Vegas and I had to pick one, I would take Alabama football plus 14.
You'd still do that?
I would.
Just because of the value, or you just have more
just
faith in
because it's
them?
so difficult to do, and I've seen one. I haven't seen the other. You're getting a ton of value. Again, if this is Nick Saban, I think the number's only 5-1. I know it is different with DeBoer, but DeBoer wins. But that is amazing. That's much like when we saw for a minute Mark Godfrey was higher paid than Mike Shula. Something you never thought you would see.
Let's do Michael Southern, who follows basketball very closely at Alabama. Excitement for basketball in the state has exceeded the mid-'80s, which I always considered the gold standard until now. Basketball fans in Alabama used to dream about things like this. Now it's a reality. Think about this. And I've looked already this morning. Gary Parrish's top 25 plus one after the deadline pullouts in the NBA yesterday has Alabama and Auburn both as top 10 schools. In the AP poll next year, very, very easily at some point, Alabama and Auburn both could be in the AP top 10 at the same time. I can't remember both of them being that good at the same time.
I think you could make the argument, and I don't even think it's that far-fetched argument. In fact, I almost would say it as a matter of fact rather than just make an argument, but I guess it is open for debate. This is the best roster Alabama has had and the best coach Alabama has had. And I think you could also make the one I'm less concrete on is the best roster Auburn has ever had, though I think it is. And I know it's the best coach Auburn has ever had. So you've got that at the same time. You've got Alabama's best roster of all time, best coach of all time. You've got potentially Auburn's best roster of all time. Now, Sonny had some good ones in the 80s.
Yeah, and it's, I mean,
but
just a couple of
definitely
years ago
Auburn's
with
best coach of all time.
Jabari and Kessler together.
I know. And then there's the Cliff Ellis team. You know, you had Chris Porter. I just don't know that you had the depth on that team that you've got on this one. So that's
Scotty Poland, though.
You did have Scotty Poland, Rockstar's favorite Auburn player of all time.
Britney Spears is going to go to Auburn to date him. Remember? That was the rumor.
Was that the rumor?
Yeah, she was going to attend Auburn, and she had a crush on Scotty Pullman.
Who
was
didn't?
that true?
I'm going to say no, but you know, it was probably on the board at the time. I mean, of those four, the only one I'm up for argument on is Auburn's best roster of all time, but it's certainly in the discussion. So think about that. At the same time, Auburn and Alabama probably have their best roster ever and definitely have their best coaches ever.
That tweet was well put from Michael, though, because if you go back 2006 to 2018, combined Alabama-Auburn, they had one tournament appearance. From 06 to 18, more than a decade, one combined tournament appearance.
Are you serious?
Oh, yeah.
From 2006 to 2018, Alabama and Auburn combined for one big dance appearance.
Auburn appeared in 2003, didn't appear again until 2015. Alabama appeared in 2006, didn't appear again until 2018.
I think kids will never understand how dark Auburn basketball got.
Well, and Alabama did too, based on Alabama standards from the days of Wimp Sanderson.
It did, but I mean,
but that's crazy. Now, if one of these teams misses the tournament, it's a complete disaster. Like, do you see any path? I mean, with the depth both of these teams have,
even a key injury wouldn't scare me. Like if Sears, and I'm just using this because it's probably their two most accomplished players, Sears and Broome, if both of them got hurt.
Oh, they're still both tournament teams.
I still think both of them can make a tournament. Easy.
Okay, we'll talk about Gary Parrish's 25 and some other basketball news involving Alabama and Auburn a little bit later on. We'll get into what's going on at the SEC meetings and the day ahead in sports. First, Brownie, tell us about our friends at Johnston RV Center, johnstonrvcenter.com.
I-65 exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur is where you find Johnston RV Center. They have repriced both those lots, and they are so confident in their pricing that every single thing has a nationwide guarantee that you get the lowest price. You bring them a price on a comparable RV, they will beat it. at Johnston RV Center. I-65, exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur. RV warranty forever. Make sure you got a lifetime warranty on everything new and qualifying used. You can get that at Johnston RV, johnstonrvcenter.com.
We talk all the time. You had one of the
No,
things?
I was just going to say, again, I said 2012 was the year Alabama made it. 2006 to 2018, only one appearance between Alabama and Auburn. That was Alabama in 2012.
Yeah.
People are saying I'm
People
wrong
saying
on
you
that.
got it wrong. No, you said
It's-
2012
that's right.
was Alabama.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Buster Olney is with us coming up at 10:25 to talk baseball. Jace Sternberger, tight end for the Titans, joins us at 11:45, and we'll talk about the Titans. Excuse me, not the Titans. The Stallions' final home game coming up this weekend. The Birmingham Stallions in Michigan, 1 o'clock at Protective Stadium. National championships are hard to win in any sport, right? Any sport.
Yes.
Yesterday, Auburn golf wins the national championship after some extra holes in the quarters and semis to get to the match with Florida State yesterday. It involved J.M. Butler putting in a par putt to clinch it, but freshman Jackson Coyven with a chip in on 14. Auburn beats Florida State 3-2, had a good tumors roll last night as well. Number one team in the nation, finished it up with a national championship out in California yesterday, the course between San Diego and L.A. You saw it on the Golf Channel. Afterwards, Auburn's coach reacting to what this meant for his program and his players.
As the wins piled up, you kept saying the job's not finished. It's finished now. How'd you do it?
It's finished. I just relied on my players. I mean, I got a great group of young men out there. We got 6 of the best players in the country, and we got great leadership with Alex Vogelsong, and they went out there today and they got the job done.
The celebration there with Auburn winning that national championship and a Tumors Corner roll. The Coyven kid wins the award that the last freshman to win that award was Justin Thomas of Alabama in 2012, and now it's 2024. He's the most recent freshman to do that. 12 years between freshmen doing this, so you expect him to have a great future on the PGA Tour as well.
You had 6 quarterbacks taken in the top 12 this year in the NFL, and we talk about how difficult it is to evaluate guys coming from the college ranks to the NFL, especially at the quarterback position. How difficult is it to we knew that Jordan Spieth was going to be a really good player, but how difficult is it to look at these guys at this level and how it translates to the PGA?
Oh, almost impossible. Yeah, almost impossible.
Because it's headspace, right?
Yeah, I would rather try to peg a first-round quarterback than try to pick a golfer that is going to be, elite in his time.
Because is it safe to say all those guys have the skill set?
Oh, 100%.
It's just all about the mentality.
It's just it is a lot like quarterback in the NFL, and that there is such a small margin that separates the guys that can't make it versus the guys that do. It is an incredibly small margin, but you see all the time guys that are dominant in college and they never live up to that in professional golf, or they don't ever do anything in college and then they get in the pros and they tear it up. You just never know.
Another national championship for Auburn. Forrester, can we go back to the tumor shot? I always wonder, this is summer now, but enough people get out there to give a good roll at Tumors Corner last night. And that's a great live camera, by the way, to always have that at Tumors Corner.
Yeah, smart placement, whoever did that.
Yeah. I don't know if that was a James Spann camera or what.
But it's a good spot right there. It's a good view.
Yeah. So, for summer school, right? I guess that's summer school.
Everybody looks for an excuse to party.
That's right, yeah. I don't know how many kids are in summer school, but.
Yeah, you can almost count the people there, but that's a pretty good roll for a small group of people there.
Yeah.
As Tumors gets rolled last night with a college golf national championship.
Yeah.
All right, one more thing here in the opening segment to get to. I'll remind you, as the UFL regular season comes to an end this weekend, you can be at Protective Stadium for the final home game of the regular season. Remember, there's a conference championship game coming up next week. You'll want to be there for that as well. Get your tickets at theufl.com, theufl.com. 1 o'clock this Saturday. You get an opportunity. Hopefully the great weather continues where it feels almost like air conditioning when the breeze blows outside. You get a 1 o'clock kick against the Michigan Panthers, another playoff-style team. Michigan and Birmingham, Protective Stadium. Go defend the home turf, theufl.com, theufl.com. There you go with the Birmingham Stallions going this weekend. All right, big day in softball as well. National championship tournament starts in Oklahoma City. 11 o'clock, Alabama and UCLA today. Birmingham Southern got some love last night on SportsCenter where Stanford Steve and Van Pelt. Stanford Steve wore a Birmingham Southern jersey. D3 team starts their World Series tomorrow in Eastlake. All the college baseball teams start their regionals tomorrow as well out of the SEC. But we got kick times that are dropping 1:30 officially today for SEC football first 3 weeks. And Greg Sankey said yesterday, by mid-June, we expect to have at least half the season released on kick times. Very different than the way it used to be.
Yeah, this is what we were promised when the SEC got in bed full-time with ESPN, is that one thing that we will not have anymore is the 6-day hold. You're not going to be Sunday wondering what time the next Saturday kick is. And we're not going to do that anymore. You may not know the network, but you're going to know the kick time. And that's all I care about. I mean, I can find the network.
There was something fun and exciting about you saying, "Oh, we've got kick times."
Oh, I know, that's true.
In 2 weeks, and we won't
true.
have that anymore. But if you're a fan and you want to make those hard plans, I like knowing exactly when that game is going to kick.
I've got some that have already been released this morning from Brett McMurphy, involving a couple of SEC teams that are on the road. If you'll show me that Brett McMurphy tweet. August 31st, opening weekend, Penn State, West Virginia. That's your big noon kick on Fox. We looked at that schedule, and we were like, that's about their best game.
It's a good game, man.
Yeah.
West Virginia, much better than advertised last year. And
tough place to play sometimes.
Neil Brown believes he's got his best roster coming back.
Yep. Because Arkansas is on the road, it's a Big 12 TV deal, but on September 7th, that's week 2, I believe, right? Week 2, Arkansas, Oklahoma State will be an 11 a.m. local kick here in Birmingham on ABC 3340.
Swing game, huge swing game for both.
Baylor at Utah, big game there in the Big 12. That'll be a 2:30 game on Fox 6. And then Mississippi State, Arizona State, that's the Hell State Bulldogs, 9:30 ESPN out in the desert.
Love it when we get a late night. You only get this in pre-conference, but a late night SEC game.
Don't see that helmet game a lot.
You do not.
You
but
do
you
not.
remember State played at Arizona, and that was a late kick. It was 2 years ago, I guess.
Some of my Mississippi State friends made that trip out there and loved it, and had a wonderful day poolside and touring, and still had time to go to a game late at night.
Tempe's 10 times better than Tucson.
September 14th, Ole Miss at Wake Forest, 5:30 on the CW.
Such a weird game.
It's weird. A weird kick time and a weird network.
Yeah. UCF and TCU is a 6:30 on Fox, primetime Fox game on September 14th. That's week 3. And then you go to Thanksgiving weekend. I think the 29th. Will you check for me real quick, Brandy? I think the 29th is that Friday, correct?
I think it's the week before.
You think it's the week before Thanksgiving?
What are you saying?
No,
29th is Black Friday? Is that what you're asking
I
me?
think 29th is Black Friday.
I thought the 22nd was, but I could be completely wrong.
I think
Oklahoma State, Colorado will be an 11 a.m. ABC game.
You know what's weird is it's Colorado gets a lot of noon games, it seems like.
Yeah.
28th is Thanksgiving. 29th is Black Friday.
Okay.
29th is Black Friday, so that'll be a 11 a.m. Are they Mountain Time? They're 10 a.m. in Boulder?
Yeah.
So that'll be 10 a.m. local kick for Dion, and possibly his last game ever as the Colorado coach. Oklahoma State and Colorado at 11 a.m. on ABC. And news this morning that has developed, Georgia and Georgia Tech. They're going to play their game on Black Friday this year. So the good old-fashioned hate moving to a Black Friday kick time.
It gets lost on that Saturday.
Will that ever be a good game again?
I don't know. I mean, there were times it was an entertaining game, but it's way down my list of Georgia games I care about. I care far more about Georgia, Florida, Georgia, Auburn, Georgia, Tennessee.
Georgia, Georgia Tech, prime time ABC on Black Friday.
I'll take that.
Prime time ABC.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Yeah, Georgia Tech, sneaky better this year.
They are. Now, that game's in Athens, I think. Is that right? Do you have that?
I think it's in Atlanta.
Is it okay?
I think it's in Atlanta.
Okay. I thought they played in Athens or in Atlanta last year, but I could be wrong. Again, that's a game that gets lost for me on Rivalry Saturday. It is way down the list.
All right, so there you go. There's some kick times, the official release of a bunch of them coming up at 1:30. I didn't want to save those for another segment, Brown, because I knew you would enjoy
I love
the
kick times. You know how much I love kick times.
So what's about to happen, Brownie, with you? What's going to happen now? Because you're leaving the show now. What's about to happen?
So right here is a merchandise delivery for Bon Air, Georgia. Okay, I've got the address right here, Bon Air, Georgia. We've got some merch on the way from one of our loyal audience members. that ordered it and got which discount code did he get? Brown 40. He got the 40% off. And we told everybody, when you order this, my wife asked this last night at dinner. She was like, so when this person ordered this, did they know you might be delivering? I was like, no, that's what we said, was this batch of orders, the delivery gets pulled out of these. So this is for me, not losing the bracket challenge, but finishing second.
You can't say that.
No, I'm just
you always bring it up that you finished second.
No, I'm not complaining about it. I'm saying this is a deserving punishment for finishing second. I'll never complain about this. I get to spend some one-on-one time with a member of our audience in Bonnier, Georgia. 8-hour round trip to do that. I am on my way right now. I'm going to deliver it today. EG's meeting me. Emily Grace McWhorter of the Pennant Grace Show is meeting me in Atlanta, and she's gonna video document it. Little T will send it all out, so you can follow it all on social media.
So this would have been a nice surprise. We've talked about Ed McMahon showing up with the balloons and a big check, but you had to give a heads up to make sure they were there.
Yeah, I'm driving 4 hours. I didn't want to miss the person.
And they're down at the beach on vacation.
Yes, so they know I am on my way, and I know what time they're going to be home.
All right, so you made contact.
Yeah, we're good.
All right, so Brown is off the rest of the show to fulfill his second place punishment. I will knock mine out, I'm told, after July 4th, right before we leave for Dallas in the SEC Media Days. All right, so there's a good opening segment for you. When we come back, we'll continue the conversation about college football. I got an interesting proposition for LT about some win totals out there. 3 teams that I think are hard to call this year, over and unders. 3 teams that are brand names, 2 of them in new locations. We'll talk about some over-unders on 3 teams. We'll get to our 40 and 40. All that coming up on the show that's being brought to you always by our friends at Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. We got some fun things with Bud Light coming up a little bit later on this summer. Love those folks. We'll be telling you about that as we get closer to that big baseball game going on at Rickwood Field when Major League Baseball comes to town next month. End of May show right here on The Next Round.
Follow The Next Round on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Next Round Live.
There is no better place to watch your favorite sporting events and enjoy great food than one of the 3 great Birmingham locations of Walk-Ons. The TVs are everywhere with your favorite sports, and the menu is second to none. From the great appetizers like the waffle cheese fries, to the Avery Island salad, handhelds like the all-new Chicken Bomber, bistro specialties with a special taste of the Bayou, the amazing hand-patty burgers, the great po' boys, and the specialty drinks. Visit any of the 3 great Birmingham locations of Walk-Ons: Greystone, Stadium Trace and Hoover, and the brand new location in Trussville.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
Hey, Lance Taylor from The Next Round to tell you about my friends at Michelson Laser Vision, located conveniently UAB Highlands. Almost 20 years ago, I went in for the procedure. Only took 12 minutes for both eyes. When I went in, I had 20/200 vision. I was legally blind. Now I have 20/15 vision, still 19 years later. Make the call today. Schedule a hassle-free consultation. 969-8100. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, Michelson Laser Vision. Make sure you tell them The Next Round sent you. 969-8100 or MichelsonLaserVision.com.
The wait is over. Tonali has arrived. Beautifully distinctive Italian styling and performance. Come test drive the all-new 2024 Alfa Romeo Tonali plug-in hybrid at Alfa Romeo of Birmingham. The all-new Tonali offers best-in-class horsepower and torque, fastest 0 to 60 times in its class, plus best-in-class range with full electric charge. And best of all, qualified Tonali leasees are eligible for up to $7,500 EV tax credit factored into your lease. Hurry down to Alfa Romeo of Birmingham and experience the all-new Tonali.
Every day, someone is ridiculed and mocked for the clothing they chose to wear. It's a harsh reality we all must face. But you have the chance to change all of that with one visit to nextround.store. For just a few minutes of browsing, you will observe so many clothing options, from hats to hoodies to t-shirts. Please, for yourself or someone you love, go to nextround.store and embrace the warmth of true attire.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Golf season is here, and if you're looking for a great golf course with affordable rates, you need to check out the newly renovated Woodward Golf Club. Woodward Golf Club is a semi-private club with membership opportunities available, but is also open to the public. You can book tee times online at this hidden gem by going to golfwoodward.com. For only $195 per month, you can enjoy unlimited golf 7 days a week. Membership includes discounted cart fees, unlimited range balls, and the use of our practice facilities. For more information on memberships and the course, check us out online at golfwoodward.com.
Back with you on the next round. 86 days to week 0. I think this sort of clicked with you when we were up in Nashville for the On3 Elite event, too, how close we are to the start of football season. When you were out there hanging out with the top 50 recruits from On3 Sports, and we start looking at the calendar, filling up the calendar the rest of summer, how quickly we're to SEC Media Days and week 0 and our kickoff party and all that stuff. It just goes by so quickly.
It really does, man. And I'll tell you, there's just a you remember that year going in from your junior to senior year, bouncing the step, excitement going into that senior year, but a little different for these guys that they're all getting paid.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you a quick story, and I told you a little bit before. I was standing, out at the poolside bar, and I was talking to one of the guys putting on the event, and I was like, we don't follow recruiting that much. Who is the man when it comes to the guys out here? They're all elite, obviously. And he looked around, and he's like, I don't see him. Like 2 minutes later, I see this guy coming from the inside to out on the pool deck, and he's shirtless, he's got purple sweats on, and he's got a huge LSU medallion, and he's giving everybody the shakes and the hugs, and he was just owning the pool deck. And I was like, that looks like the guy. And he turned around and he was like, that is the guy. And it was the Bryce Underwood kid who signed with LSU. And he's listed at 220. And you saw all those quarterbacks up there, and they've got to fill the frame out. This guy looks like a legitimate NFL quarterback right now. And they said they've had him ranked number 1 for 3 consecutive years. They said he will probably start day 1 for Brian Kelly and LSU. But he had his own cameraman out there following him around. I mean, he was owning the room. Yeah. And he looks like a complete stud. If I'm an LSU fan, I'm excited about this kid.
So an On3 camera guy, or?
I think he had his own. I don't know.
Oh, wow.
But it's like all the other kids were coming up to him because, they wanted to get a picture and they wanted to make sure they were talking to him. So I had no idea who he was.
So he's going to be LSU's quarterback of the future when they sign. He's already committed in 2025. He's going to be
there. He is.
There, yeah.
And I can't make it up, man. I mean, he had an NFL build, looked like a linebacker, all the confidence in the world. He had one of those auras when he walked in the room. Everybody was like, kind of stopped and looked, and I had no idea who he was, and he was like, damn, you drilled that. But it wasn't hard to do because you could just tell this guy has it. And I would assume next year at SEC Media Days, he'll be one of the top stories people are talking about, a true freshman that can walk in and make an impact immediately for maybe a national championship contender.
All right. The Dr. B man, LT and Brownie, tell us about Dr. B, and we've got another kick time announced, and this one is really surprising, but it shows you about the new era of the SEC, what game time is going to still be important.
Yeah, look, Dr. B, best in the business. Again, when we started this venture almost 3 years ago, I noticed that I was thinning out on the crown, and I went to see. I asked around. Everybody said Dr. Beckenstein is the man. This is the guy you need to go see. Went to see Dr. B, got that consultation, and since that moment, my hair has more than doubled in thickness. All I'm doing is a non-invasive treatment 3 times a week, 30 minutes each time on the couch. For more information, t3hair.net. For more than 20 years, women and men have turned to Dr. Beckenstein for a range of cosmetic and reconstructive procedures. He will use that experience, his advanced training and genetic testing to help his patients fully understand the procedures they are considering. Call Dr. B today, 205-319-0316 or t3hair.net.
October 12th, Red River Shootout, Cotton Bowl. Usually kicks at what time?
Cotton Bowl usually kicks at 11 a.m.
11 a.m. Yep. Not anymore. 2:30 on either ABC or ESPN. They haven't decided which yet. 2:30, Oklahoma and Texas. Their first Red River in the SEC moves a little deeper into the day at 2:30 window.
I like it. I think it was Brown saying, I love the 11 o'clock, Oklahoma, Texas. I kind of want the 2:30. A game of that magnitude just seems a little early for 11 o'clock. And I know Fox with the big noon kickoff, it's changed a little bit, at least the perception of some of the biggest games in college football that week. But I like to mix it up. I wouldn't mind seeing, maybe it's too dangerous for that crowd, how they get so lubed up having a night game, but I wouldn't mind seeing it prime time.
Yeah, I wouldn't either at some point, and that's what everyone's reacting. Just a few more hours for those Oklahoma and Texas fans to get a little bit more lubed up. But a little change there, Oklahoma and Texas. going at 2:30, either on ABC or ESPN. That's Brett McMurphy reporting that, and Brett's got the inside sources on these TV times. So a little switch there. It is interesting that we're going to get live SEC network coverage of Texas and Oklahoma officially joining the league. On June 30th, all day on the SEC network, they'll be on the Texas campus from 1 o'clock until just after 9, with Greg Sankey and a big festival going on, live music, as Texas becomes an official member of the SEC. Next day, they'll be in Norman doing the same thing as Oklahoma becomes officially a member of the SEC, June 30th and July 1st.
Yeah, the last two times the SEC's expanded to Arkansas and South Carolina, Texas A&M, and Missouri, not this big of a deal. I mean, these are two major brands, so really not a surprise.
Yeah, so you get some live TV coverage on those days that it was announced by the SEC network yesterday. All right, I got one thing for LT on some win totals here that I think is pretty interesting. Some tough teams to call. Our UCA look at college football brought to you by the Urology Centers of Alabama. As you get older, men, you start aging from 20s to 30s. You really aren't worried about a ton of stuff when you're in your 20s. Then in the 30s, you start to become a little concerned about your health. You want to stay on top of things. Into your 40s, 50s, and 60s, that's where Urology Centers of Alabama can help you out. 205-930-0920, 930-0920, UrologyCentersAlabama.com, UrologyCentersAlabama.com. Check them out, 16 locations to help you out. Our friends with UCA right there at UrologyCentersAlabama.com. Let's go first with Florida State's schedule. Win total is at 9.5. It's a tough team for me to go over under 9.5. Florida State's schedule pops up over here for you, and we'll run through it. You just tell me win or loss, okay? Win or loss. Georgia Tech.
That is a win. I agree with you. I think Tech under Brent Key in year 2+ is going to be a little bit better, but Florida State will win that game.
Home game, Boston College.
They win there.
Home game, Memphis.
Another tough game, but I think they win.
That is a tough game. I'm glad you said that.
Yep.
Home game, Cal. Easy win. So 4-0 right now in your book.
Yep.
Road game, SMU.
Again, man, these games on the surface, a team that was 13-1 last year, a team that a lot of people felt got snubbed by the College Football Playoff Committee. These aren't brand games that they're playing, but they've got some really difficult September games, but I'll give them another win.
So 5-0, then home game, Clemson.
That's a loss.
Okay. Ooh, 5-1. You think Dabo's team, that's a big win for him if he gets that.
Dabo's got a lot of experience coming back, and I think they're going to be kind of sneaky good in the ACC. I think the ACC is going to be a lot more wide open this year, but I am going to lean that is a win for Clemson.
Remember, 9.5 is your win total we're talking about.
Yeah, I would almost guarantee you this, Dunaway. Maybe Clemson isn't the win. I'll say it's the win there. But I don't see this team opening at, what would that be, 6-0? No.
6-0.
Yeah.
At Duke.
I'll give them a win there.
Okay. At Miami.
That's a loss.
Okay, so 2 losses.
Yep.
Home game, North Carolina.
That's a win.
At Notre Dame.
That's a loss.
Okay, so there you go. Now you've dropped under the 9.5.
Notre Dame, Miami, Clemson. I've only got 3 losses.
I know, but 12,
you're right.
That drops you under 9.5.
Yeah, I would play the under. I would definitely play the under 9.5 here.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you're downgrading in quarterback. Jordan Travis is a better quarterback than DJ.
Charleston State and Florida to end up that schedule. So that was a tough one for me. 9.5 Florida State.
I think the number's 9-3, so I think they've got the number right.
Yeah.
I think most people would look at this and most people would say 10-2 or 9-3. I mean, what do you lean?
I told you that's why it was so tough. I got all 3 of these are tough for me. I have them going 10-2, but I don't feel good about it because of those 3 games.
Let me ask you, if you're a Florida State fan, do you feel good about 10-2?
10-2 probably. I think the ACC is the one that could get 2. Other than the SEC, Big Ten, I could see the ACC getting 2 teams in.
But those 2 teams would need to be 1-loss teams. I think it's going to be hard for ACC to get a 2-loss team in.
Yes.
Yeah, whether it was, Florida State and Clemson, because of that matchup, 1 loss, and that team that loses is out of the ACC championship game but still gets an at-large.
I think Clemson could get in with 2 because of the Georgia game out of conference.
Yeah, I could see that.
Okay. 2 more teams here that I have a hard time on their over-under. One of them is is USC. You know, your beloved Trojans here. I've seen their win total at 7.5, and I'm almost leaning under 7.5.
Yeah, I am too. I had a call from an LSU fan yesterday, and he said, "Why are your Trojans trying to get out of this game?" And I'm like, "Because they know they're going to get their asses whipped."
Okay, so LSU first.
That's a loss.
That's a loss. Utah State at home.
That's a win.
Okay, so 1-1. Road game, Michigan.
I think that's a loss.
See, I think Michigan's defense is going to still be
I
really
do too.
good.
And I think Michigan, you know, they still are going to play with a lot of discipline. I don't think Michigan's going to have – I think wins and losses, it's going to fall off a little bit, but I still think they're going to be a really, really good team.
So 1-2.
Yep.
Right there off to – then a home game with Wisconsin, improved Wisconsin.
That's a win.
It's a win. 2-2. Minnesota.
That's a win.
Home game, Penn State.
I think that's a win.
Okay, so you're 4-2. Road game, Maryland.
Tough game, but I think that's a win.
5-2. Home game, Rutgers.
That's a win.
6-2. Road game, Washington.
Tough game, but I'm going to say they win that game.
Okay, 7-2. So one more win and they're over.
Yep.
They've got that. Nebraska, a home game.
That's a win.
Okay. 8-2. UCLA's got to be a win.
Yeah, that's a win.
I mean, I don't even know if UCLA is bowl eligible. And then Notre Dame at the end.
That's a lose. That's a loss. So 9-3.
That's 9-3. So that's easy over 7.5.
You know, I wouldn't feel. I would feel better about playing the over. I wouldn't feel great about it because I just don't know. Watching this team last year, and again going back to Lincoln Riley's first year, they were wins and losses. They were much better. You know, when you looked at it on paper, they weren't nearly as good as what the record was. And then last year, the defense was even worse. So I just don't know what you're going to get with USC this year, but I'll lean over.
LSU, Michigan, Wisconsin, Penn State, Nebraska, Notre Dame. Those are 6 games that are coin flip type games for me.
Yeah. I think as you see these conferences expand, the SEC and the Big Ten, there's going to be a lot more. We talk about the NFL model, and almost every game is a one-possession game, and almost every game's kind of a coin flip. I think you're going to start getting this with some of these major conferences.
Landmine Believer 8-4. Groon D. How's LSU a loss? They both had awful defenses and new quarterbacks, more like a toss-up for him.
I just think LSU's got more depth. I trust Brian Kelly more than I do Lincoln Riley. And, you know, LSU, it kind of just seemed like a one-off with how bad that defense was last year. It has become a potential problem year in and year out with Lincoln Riley.
Nussmeier versus Miller Moss as the new starting quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, look, we've seen Miller Moss in one big game. It was a bowl game. You don't know really what you're going to get out of there. And Nussmeier, when you've seen him, he looks good. But I don't know ultimately who's going to be the better quarterback.
One other one that they played in the national championship game, but they lost their head coach to Alabama, Washington. Same win total as USC, 7.5. Do you go over or under here? Weber State.
That's a win.
Eastern Michigan.
Win.
Washington State.
Tough game because Washington State's going to be playing their ass off in that game with no home, but I'm going to say that's a win.
Northwestern.
Win.
Rutgers
Win.
on the road. Okay, that's 5-0.
Yep.
Home to Michigan.
I'll give them 6-0.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
At Iowa.
Loss.
At Indiana.
Win.
That's 7. USC.
Loss.
At Penn State.
Loss.
UCLA.
Win.
At Oregon.
Loss.
So that's 8. 8-4.
Right there on the number.
Right there on the number.
Yeah. I mean, how good is Jed Fish? Like, he did really good in the last couple of years with Arizona.
It's so funny. I was bragging about him last year. Remember that he had that great recruiting class, and he sold them, we're going to be a 30 for 30. We're going to all stay here, and we're going to turn this program around. And 2 years into it, it was going pretty good, and then he left.
Yeah.
And took some Arizona stars with him.
You can't blame him. I mean, where Washington is now in the Big Ten, and Washington just playing for a national championship, and I think the Big 12 is better than advertised. But you can't blame Fish for leaving. I just think you're getting a downgrade from what you had in Kalen DeBoer.
Bendejo, Washington, will have a better season than USC. Fish is a really, really good coach.
Hey, you think Bendejo is a Washington fan?
I don't know. Bendejo? Let us know if you're a Washington fan.
We'll see, man. I mean, if they don't have much of a fall off, if Washington is able to roll into the Big Ten and win 9 games this year and become, a force in the Big Ten, then, Fish is the real deal. It's kind of an abbreviated sample size.
When we come back, Rockstar has our 4 downs today. Later on, we'll do Buster Only in our team in our 40 and 40 countdown as we break into our top 30, team number 30 today is on our list. But Rockstar's 4 Downs coming up on the other side. The show being brought to you by our friends at Hemp Hill. Tell us about the great folks at Hemp Hill Services.
Yeah, make sure that AC unit ready to keep up with this changing weather as we roll into the summer. Whether you experience plumbing, heating, and cooling issues in your home or business, they are ready to serve you. 205-229-2090. Hard to stop a train. Call Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys at Hemp Hill Services. For more information, hemphillservices.com.
Take the next round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store.
Maybe you follow us on Instagram, Facebook, X, LinkedIn, or TikTok. Well, we're changing the game yet again. Tyler's Telegrams has been developed exclusively for you.
Hi, this is the lovable boy you know as Tyler the Intern. I'm a businessman now. I will come directly to your door and tell you every time a new piece of TNR content drops. For the low, low price of $740,000, you can be notified by me, one of the biggest stars of the next round, about that thing you missed. Sure, the rest of those social media services are free, but so is radio, and we all know how well that's trending.
Tyler's Telegrams is currently operating exclusively in Bibb County. Other social media platforms are available everywhere.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
Hang out with the Next Round on the go. Whether you're driving to work, running errands, sitting on the beach, or you just need a break from the real world, we can keep you company. Check out the Next Round, Mystery Fifth Hour, and our other shows on your favorite podcast app. We'll meet you there.
The wait is over. Tonali has arrived. Beautifully distinctive Italian styling and performance. Come test drive the all-new 2024 Alfa Romeo Tonali plug-in hybrid at Alfa Romeo of Birmingham. The all-new Tonali offers best-in-class horsepower and torque, fastest 0 to 60 times in its class, plus best-in-class range with full electric charge. And best of all, qualified Tonali leasees are eligible for up to $7,500 EV tax credit factored into your lease. Hurry down to Alfa Romeo of Birmingham and experience the all-new Tonali.
It's time to pull the trigger on the Next Round merch that you've been eyeing. We know there's a lot to choose from at nextround.store, so here's a few of our favorite picks. If you want to match LT and Brown, go with a TNR logo hoodie and throw in one of Dunaway's favorite hats. Any of them will do. The Backroom's go-to is the classic logo t-shirt, while my personal favorite is the light blue TNR crew neck. All of these items can be found at nextround.store and are EG approved. Rest assured, your order will be packed with lots of love from us here at the Next Round. Head over to nextround.store to start filling up your cart.
Back with you on the Next Round. Look who's back. Back again from Europe.
Hello, everyone.
Taylor Korn is back in the command center running everything at Next Round Live and in studio with us for 4 Downs now. Man, Europe. Long time.
Yeah.
You were gone.
I was gone for a very long time, and things are different over there. I could not live there. I love vacationing there, but I could not live there.
See, I've talked to a lot of people that have gone over there, and I think it's probably once you get older, you're like, I could probably do this. But you got to go for the amount of time you went, right?
Yeah, it was, by the end of it, I was getting tired. It's just because you're not going to sleep in till noon or anything. So we were getting up and going and staying. We were eating dinner pretty late, so we had full, probably 12-plus hour days every single day.
And you were there 12 days? Gone 12 days?
I left 2 weeks ago from tomorrow, and I got back last night. So however many days that was.
So what was the best town you went to?
They were so different. I was telling Lance this morning, I think that he would love Ireland. It was I didn't know much about it, but the streets, it's like in Greenwich, I think is what it's called. I don't know. I don't really remember the names of any of we were so many different places, but it's just a bunch of roads that have shops, bars, restaurants, and I mean, you're just in the middle of it and you can't walk down all the streets. So it's cool. It's like a cool environment.
Is that the most green you've ever seen? Like just looking at Ireland on TV, it's just the greenery's crazy.
Yes, and then there's just sheep everywhere, which is crazy. And like in the middle of the roads, they were. I don't know. It was very different. But the craziest thing is that they don't believe in AC in Europe, or I guess I'm sure
ice or really anything. Tell the story about the koozies.
Oh yeah, we were on a ferry in Ireland, or I guess we were traveling from the main Ireland. I don't know. I probably sound like an idiot right now, but we were going to the Aran Islands and that place. So we were on a ferry, and I brought a bunch of koozies and stickers and all that. And my mom and my aunt, my dad's brother's wife, they're from Arizona, and so my mom and my aunt were like walking around the ferry, and I was talking to one of the bartenders from the ferry, and I gave him a koozie, and he was like, what do y'all call these things? And I was like, these things? Do you not know what a koozie is? This is so that everyone knows I don't know if they don't use them over there or what. So he didn't know what it was. So my mom and my aunt were talking to these random people on the boat, and they both had the koozies on, and they were like, what is that? And my mom was like, a koozie? What do you mean? They're like, no, what's the logo on it? And my mom was like, oh, it's a sports show out of Birmingham that my daughter works for. And it was funny because my mom said, they go, your daughter works for a sports show? And my mom was like, well, she's not. She does their social media, whatever. Yeah, literally.
Does she cook for them?
Do they have a microphone in the kitchen?
So she gave them, my mom was like, do y'all want the koozies to these two? I think it was just two random people. And they said, we don't want to take them. My mom was like, please. She has a backpack full of them, and, we have a bunch, so please take them. She goes, but if I give these to you, you have to go to their YouTube channel and subscribe and like their videos. And I was like,
we got to check with Lunsford to see if we've got any new UK listeners and viewers. For a society, especially when you're talking about like London, and they think they're so uppity, get with the times. It's 2024. You can use ice cubes. You can use a koozie.
Yeah.
I guess Yetis don't have a big market over there?
No, I don't know. It's just weird. And then everything's just very small. And I was talking to my dad about it, and he said that they think Americans waste a ton of space. And I was like, well, they are not. I guess they also live in cities. They live in the middle of the city, so they can't have big yards or big
They got to be more compact, right?
Yes. But like the shower that I was using in our house in London had no door. It was literally a bathroom with like a toilet, a sink, and then there was just a shower head.
How's the water pressure? It seems like it would be bad.
The water pressure was fine.
Okay.
But there was just no wall. So you shower and water's just flying everywhere. And I was like, what's going, like a shower curtain, but everything's just very small, and they don't believe in AC. So we kept the windows open. This is the last thing I'll say about this for now. But so you have to open all the windows to get some airflow. And I was sleeping on the top floor. It was me and my little cousin. And the roof was kind of slanted. And so one of the windows was like directly above my bed, and they were kind of staggered. So one was above the head of my bed and then the foot of her bed. And we had them opened because it was so hot up there during the day. And so we were like, we'll leave it open all day so that when we come home to sleep, everything's cooled off. So I wake up in the middle of the night. I'm like, why does it feel like I'm getting rained on right now? And it is torrentially downpouring outside, and the window above so I was getting rained on, and I was like, I don't even know how to close these windows. They have remotes and stuff. And so I just let it go. I was like, I'm just going to shift over a little bit this way and hope it doesn't stop. But I was like, I don't know how
sleep in the rain.
Literally.
Did the food suck?
No.
Okay.
I didn't have
because I've always heard the food sucks.
Yeah,
but
in London I did, but not in Ireland.
We found a place. So we went from London to Ireland, back to London, and the house that we stayed at in London the second time when we went back, there was like a little, I guess it was a local restaurant that a lot of people that live in that area go to, and we went 3 times. And the last time that we were there, they were like, welcome back, guys. But the food was good. I didn't have a meal that I disliked.
Did they have ranch dressing?
No. I asked for ranch with fries or something.
I'm shocked
and they
you
looked
didn't
at
take
me,
packs with you.
They go,
not fries, chips.
Yeah, chips. And they go, ranch? And I was like, but my brother-in-law, and someone said this because I tweeted about it, and someone said something. They said, you have an incredible opportunity here to bring ranch here. My brother-in-law said that. He was like, why don't we bring it over here? And I was like, well, they don't want it or need it because they've never had it.
Yeah,
or I don't know.
But once you have it.
Once you have it,
Yeah.
Boy, they really calling us rednecks now, aren't they?
Probably, but I was like ranch dressing, like on a salad. Nope, none. But it was an amazing trip. It was so fun.
Well, we're glad to have you back, and she's going to hang out with us for our 4 Downs now, which is brought to you every day by our wonderful friends at Slice, 5 great locations.
Yeah, speaking of great food, get in and see the Majaya Brothers today, the original location in Lakeview, Vestavia, Montevallo, Crestline Park, now Edgewood at the corner of Oxmoor and Broadway. Local pizza, local ingredients from the wing and a prayer to the hot mama. You're going to absolutely love it. For more information, slicebirmingham.com.
First down.
What is something you wish you enjoyed, but you just can't get into?
For me, and I had this conversation with your friends at the pool this past weekend, it's golf. Talking to John Willard about it. I wish I enjoyed it. Like 3 holes, I'm all about it, and then I get so bored. I just don't have... I can watch a 3-hour movie, it's not a problem, but going out there and playing golf for 5 hours is too much for me. I wish I enjoyed it, being outside, doing something that is competitive, having fun, drinking, gambling.
This is going to be a sad statement about my intelligence, but we're all friends. Everybody knows how average I am mentally.
Below most.
I know where you're going to go here.
I wish I enjoyed reading.
Yeah, me too.
Like my wife will read books. My son reads books. I see people at pools reading books, people at the beach reading books, people in libraries reading books.
In libraries.
I mean, I read websites and tweets and emails and all that. I can read, but I don't enjoy reading a book. It seems like a waste of time to me.
You should find one that you like.
Do you read?
I went through Spain. I think it was during COVID. It was during COVID because it was after I had surgery. So I was not bedridden, but I couldn't really do much for a few weeks. And there was also nothing to do because everyone was locked up. And so I went through a span where I did read a decent amount. I haven't in a while. I did a little bit on the plane, but I feel like I don't really have time to anymore. When I get home, I want to go to bed. But I feel like if you found something that you liked, you would enjoy it.
I've got friends who post the other day, starting my 24th book of the year here at the beach, and I'm like, 24th? I haven't read 24 in my life.
Humble brag.
Yeah. So that is a humble brag. I agree with you. I wish I enjoyed reading more. The thing is, we do read a lot. It's not like hard-hitting stuff, but I mean, we're reading a couple of hours a day. At least I am.
See, me too. 2 hours a day, I'm reading stuff.
It's just articles and things on sports. But it's not the same
that
thing.
Counts. I think that counts.
Meanwhile, Condoleezza Rice is reading stuff in Russian.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Go back and see our content from regions.
That is a flex right there.
What about you, Little T?
Watching movies / TV.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
That was my second one. I can't. I wish I could sit down and. When I sit down, I'm like, okay, I've got to do this for the next 2.5 hours.
I can't.
Now, I can sit down and watch 2.5 hours of a 30-minute or 50-minute show.
That's what doesn't make any sense to me.
It doesn't. But I never intend to do 2.5 hours of it. To sit down and know that I've got to do this for 2.5 hours. I don't know. I think long-form HBO quality series like Game of Thrones ruin movies for me because those episodes are movie-like for 50 minutes, and then you go to the next one, and this movie-like for 50 minutes. Or
good news, what's
minutes.
coming? Guess what's coming soon?
What?
The prequel to The Sopranos.
Really?
Yeah, I heard David Chase is behind it. This could be Tony Soprano in the 80s and how he actually came up the ranks.
Oh, that could be fun.
That could be really good.
Well, it's a bit of a situation.
Second down.
What is the biggest public tantrum you have witnessed?
So this was, I guess you'd consider it a tantrum. I was in Superior Girl. It was after a spring race at Talladega. And we're all in there, and I hear this loud commotion, and they're dragging this dude out the front door. Ooh. A couple of Superior employees. And the next thing I know, it's completely packed out. Dude punches one of the windows on the outside. There's a big family eating. All the glass goes onto their table.
Oh, no.
But as he does it, he gashes himself. And I'm talking, it's spurting blood profusely. They have to, what do you call it? Tourniquet him off where he doesn't bleed out in the parking lot. Yeah, cops came, ambulance came.
What was he mad about?
I don't know. I guess he had gotten in a fight, gotten drunk, said something to a bartender. I have no idea. But because he got thrown out, he punched the window. Glass goes everywhere. I mean, it was a melee.
Imagine him waking up the next morning like, God, my arm hurts. What the hell happened last night?
They thought he was going to bleed out.
Yeah. What did we do?
It was crazy.
Worst public tantrum you've seen?
This is hard. I feel like it has to do with a sporting event. It would have to. I don't have one that's coming to the top of my mind, but I feel like it would have to be it was probably me at an Auburn game losing a game that Auburn lost.
Yeah. Same way with me. Mine's mostly been grown men fighting at sporting events. Just getting upset about something, and then boom, it escalates into a fight.
So I've got a feeling Rockstar's got a really good one to throw this question out.
The one I witnessed, there was at a pharmacy picking up a prescription. I think it takes longer to do the drive-through, so I just walk in, and this woman is getting like 5 or 6 prescriptions, and the lady gives her a total, and no, they're out of one thing, and they said, we'll let you know when we have it in, but I have to have it. And like, well, I'm sorry, we let you know through text that we don't have it, we're working on it, and then it's going to be this total. And she was like, that's too much money. Why is the insurance covering it? And she's like, ma'am, I don't know. I'm just the pharmacist. And she starts like, I got to have these pills, and I'm not paying that, because last time it was this much. She said, ma'am, we'd let you know that there's going to be a price increase. And she just lost it, and she's like, I have to have these pills. And I'm going, yeah. There was about a 10-minute conversation. I felt so bad for the thing. There's one pharmacy call. One pharmacy call. One pharmacy. I was like, I don't know how the hell y'all do this.
That makes me sad for people. Like, she can't do anything about it.
No, but you got to yell at somebody. It's like unclaimed baggage. It's your fault. Like, no, I just work here. Yeah, like, I didn't lose your bag.
I would start, because of my DirecTV confrontations I would get in. At least it was behind the scenes. But I would always tell the person, it's not your fault. I've just got to, I've got to get this off my chest. It's your company that you work for.
Yeah, and then you just yell at them.
Yeah. I guess I've seen you on one of those calls before, so.
Yeah. I don't have to make those calls.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's good.
Third down.
What is the most ridiculous rule you had to follow at a job?
So we were at Odie's last night, and Will had me guest bartend a couple of times, and his rules for his bartenders are, you can't use your cell phone and you can't drink. And of course, an hour in, he sees me with a drink in hand texting. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't get this. And he's like, we run a professional operation up here. Bartenders don't text, they don't drink. And I continue to do it, and probably why I would never get a job bartending with Will. But at Cumulus, I never understood this. They would get pissed if we dress like this.
No, it was one certain person for
Mary Brown.
Out of nowhere, we
see you next Tuesday.
We couldn't wear hats and we couldn't wear shorts at a radio job where nobody sees you.
Yeah, do people come in there?
Oh, I don't know. It was like a 2-month thing. Where we got emails saying there will be no hats and there will be no shorts.
That's when Kill Bill and Mary tried to run everybody off.
I didn't understand in the corporate world. I mean, when I had to watch seminars about things that we watched seminars about last year, why do I have to do it again? I was here last year when we watched basically the same video.
They got to remind you not to toss a pencil in the corner to get the secretary to bend over.
They're covering their bases, so you can't.
Yeah, but I've already seen it once. I saw it last year. I checked the box last year.
They're covering their bases. They have to do it.
I can't do it again. Sexual harassment has not changed from 2018 to 2019. It's exactly the same.
I never understood, like, you as a producer, you as an on-air host, how you guys couldn't dress like sports-like. Like, I was going out and seeing clients, so it was a little different for me.
Yeah.
Fourth down.
What is your favorite single fast food item of all time?
Ooh. The Mexican pizza back in the day at Taco Bell. It's still good. It's not as good as it was because they used to come with black olives, believe it or not, and you could get sour cream on it.
Taco Bell really scares me. I've eaten it many of times, but I feel like their meat is...
I remember we used to go in there and see how much you could get for $20. Taco Bell's gotten kind of expensive.
Everything has.
The boys went to get it the other day, and they spent $40 at Taco Bell.
Yeah.
Yeah, for two.
We bought
of
a cash register.
I'm on a roll right now of getting this chicken pita with slaw in it and some pasta salad and a Diet Coke. And I go and get it, and it's $19. That's all it is, a chicken pita with slaw, pasta salad side, and a Diet Coke, and it's $19. After I hit the 20% tip on the thing. $19.
Do they shame you for 20% too?
For a basic lunch. I mean, that's a basic lunch. So everything's gotten more expensive. For me, and it comes back just, young, carefree, good friends, good summer. But it's not a good product now. But the Whopper back in the day, and it was summertime, we were out either working or on the lake on the boat or whatever. But the Whopper, what was it, 2 for $5?
The heavy mayonnaise.
So you were the one, because I've always asked, I can't find anybody that's been to Burger King.
Back then, I've only gone one time in the last 25 years.
Oh, we went all the time as kids because we lived right by one. But I can't tell you the last time I've been to one.
But in the 80s, early 90s, late 80s, early 90s, the Whopper special they had, I think it was 2 for $5. Or maybe it was a 4 for $5. I don't know what it was, but it was so good. And it's a crap product now.
The Chick-fil-A chicken, not chicken nuggets, but like the chicken fingers,
strips.
The chicken strips. I think that I might be one of the only people that orders those off the
Are they
menu.
I didn't even know they had them.
Yeah, it's a different taste too. Like it's not like a chicken nugget as a strip. They're two different flavors.
I didn't even know they had that.
Yeah, I will order those. I order those, not chicken nuggets, if I can. I mean, obviously at football stadiums and stuff like that, they have the chicken sandwich and they have the chicken nuggets typically. Right. But the restaurants have the chicken strips.
You're not going to remember this. Back in the early 90s, too, late 80s, early 90s, the dollar value menu at Wendy's. Oh. Wendy's used to have a really good product.
When I went to my first Wendy's.
Never had good fries, though.
Yeah.
No, I think they improved those a little bit, but they were never a good fry place.
The first Wendy's I went to was in Hoover at the corner of Lorna Road, right across from where the Galleria ended up being. And it seems like I was in high school. And
where they had that sunroom. The roof was like glass. I want to go eat the sunroom today.
It was like I was in high school. It was the first time I made out with a girl from Hoover. It was a big deal for a country boy from Alabaster. So a berry girl.
Bought her a salad bar.
You were a singles hitter, man. You talk about making out a lot.
I did. I never
Wade Boggs of the next round.
I never tried to go for two, man. It was always just a base hit.
Maybe the best fries or some of the best fries I've ever had in Nashville. Place I've always wanted to go to called Dino's. It's a dive bar. It's been around forever. Have you guys ever heard about it? But their burger was a little overrated, I thought, but their fries were incredible. It's like they double battered them.
What's the burger place in
Pharmacy?
Atlanta? In Atlanta we go to.
The Vortex?
The Vortex. That thing never disappoints. Brown was heartbroken. I could see it in his eyes when we were leaving Tuesday because we went to the original location of the pharmacy. And he raves about this burger, and we get there, and they're like, "How do you want your burger cooked?" And we cook them medium rare, blah blah blah, and we're like, "That's fine, do it like that." It comes out, and the chef had overcooked them, like it was like if I'd ordered it well done, that's what it would have been. And you could just tell in Brown's eyes that he wanted it to be, really good, and maybe Jim didn't like it for some reason, but even he was like, "That's."
Mine was overcooked too at Dino's.
I'm so sorry, my burger it's really dry. It's usually a lot better than this.
Well, I would recommend you guys go in there because it was one guy that's cooking and one girl taking the orders and bartending at the same time, and the place is packed out. And when your order's up, he went, "Order up for Taylor."
What? On purpose, or did he have a stutter?
Yeah, no, he was having fun with it.
Bobby T doing the order call.
Oh, we got a little Madeline for 13th birthday. What do you want to hear? Sure. Okay.
Was that 4, or do we have one more?
We have 4 of those today.
That's 4 downs. Brought to you by our friends at Slice.
5 great locations. Get a slice and a salad today. Get in and see the Bajaya brothers, created by the late Jeff Bajaya. His brothers Jason and Chris continue his legacy. For more information, slicebirmingham.com.
Somewhere Emily Grace is waiting to Brown to pick her up to go on this punishment trip. She's sitting here going, "Dunaway, you refused yesterday to let me go long on any story to keep us on time." I interrupted her like 3 times mid-story.
Hey, this is a record unless it was some interview we've done.
Yeah,
We're 7 over the hour.
7 over the hour there.
Sorry.
No, it's not your fault. It's your fault. But EG's sitting there. Yesterday, I couldn't even finish a story. You're pushing me along so much. When we come back, we'll talk a little college football, then get to Buster Olney. It's all coming up on the show that's brought to you by our friends at Precision Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Dr. Patterson, our guy down at Alabaster, one of the great locations, got my hip and recovery. I did rehab yesterday. His diagnosis is exactly right. The rehab guy says, it's not your spine, Jim. You have no butt muscle. Getting got to develop a butt muscle. So the rest of 2024 will be me trying to develop a buttocks.
Just do squats.
Well, we're getting there. We're getting there. He's like, this is not good, not good. Precision Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. They can diagnose you. They can treat you. They help you through rehab. They're so fantastic. Whatever you tweak, pull, or break, they've got you covered. 205-512-3885. 512-3885. Orthopedic care better together. PrecisionSportsOrtho.com/2024.
Call the next round now at 205-734-0923.
Remember the name Way to Wellness if you're battling weight loss in your life. I'm Jim Dunaway from The Next Round. There was a time I was over 216 pounds until Way to Wellness helped me lose 45 pounds, and now for over 2 years, they've helped me keep that weight off. Here's their website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. That's a great name for a website because there's no cookie cutter plan. Everything is designed specifically for you. No contract, no sign-up fees, and your first consultation is free at Way to Wellness. Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Dunaway is standing by ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
Things fall apart. There's even a book about it, but that doesn't mean you have to break the bank to fix them. Ryan Brown here for The Next Round. Our friends at Mortgage Right have a new renovation option that will make repairs and other home improvements easy. If you've recently purchased a home and find yourself short on cash, or you're looking to buy a fixer-upper, Mortgage Right's renovation loan program can help you spruce up your space. Repairs can be made to your roof, plumbing, flooring, and more with the help of top-notch mortgage professionals. So get your fix by visiting mortgageright.com/TNR. And MLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
You never know what we're up to here at The Next Round. The easiest way to stay in the know with our antics and adventures is to follow The Next Round across all social media platforms at Next Round Live on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Whether it's Dunaway sleeping in the studio, Tim and Lunsford breaking down the latest movie release, or Game Day Chronicles, we are here to keep you updated on the latest sports news while, of course, having just a little bit of fun. Follow at Next Round Live across all platforms to join in.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
All right, another hour of the show starting now. Hour number 2, Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown started the show. He's on his way now to pay off a bracket punishment by delivering a Next Round merch order in person to Macon, Georgia, basically, the outskirts of Macon, Georgia. So that's what he's out doing. Taylor Korn is back in the command center on her after her European vacation. Rockstar, Tyler, Lunsford, Forrester on the back row back there. Melton getting us ready for a new meltdown coming up at 2 o'clock Central Time today, wherever you get the meltdown, including on this website, on this video platform, also on Disrupt the Media. That's where you get the Pennant Grace with Emily Grace McWhorter, who's on the trip with Brownie today. A new Pennant Grace coming up. Probably about the Braves' struggle. They're 5-5 in their last 10 games. They lose again last night, 6 games out.
Yeah, look, and they're trying to get a split with the Nats today, their final game of that 4-game home set against the Nationals. And I just, even without Acuna, you expect them to be able to win games against the Nationals and coming up against the A's this weekend.
Yeah, the A's are in town this weekend. A couple of more new kick times, but a couple other big headlines. Auburn is your national champion in golf. They win that yesterday, closing out Florida State in the final match. There's the championship trophy and the team with their national championship T-shirts on out between San Diego and L.A. where they played that last night. A lot of you watched it on the Golf Channel, and they ended up rolling Toomer's Corners afterwards. The folks back in Auburn did with a big celebration. I can imagine another Toomer's roll will happen when they arrive back on campus today. Then you get Mark Sears and Jaron Stevenson returning to Alabama out of the NBA draft. We talked about that in the opening segment of the show. Some folks now have Alabama projected very high in the preseason rankings. In fact, one person, we'll talk about a little bit later on, has both Alabama and Auburn in their top 10 preseason in men's basketball. Alabama softball starts the World Series today, 11 o'clock. First game out. It's Alabama-UCLA. That's coming up in about 47 minutes on ESPN. First pitch there. Alabama, of course, overachieving to make it to Oklahoma City with the season they had. So they are big underdogs today against UCLA in that contest. And then more college football right here, right after LT tells us about our friends at HydroLive.
IV therapy, B12 injections, cryotherapy, compression therapy, all under one roof. Boost your immune system with HydroLive therapy. IV therapy treatments packed with nutrients to increase energy, reduce stress and anxiety, boost your immune system, and much more. Ask about the memberships. You recoup that IV membership fee in just one visit. HydroLive therapy open daily 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. 2 locations in Birmingham, the original in Homewood, Highway 119 in Greystone. Don't forget about the Tuscaloosa location. Very important. Mention the next round when you're in one of those great locations. You're going to get 20% off all the great services from our friends at HydroLive Therapy. For more information, hydrolivetherapy.com.
I told you about Georgia Tech, Georgia being a prime time game coming up on Black Friday. It is 6:30 on ABC. That has been announced officially. Got some more kick times. It all will be released today at 1:30 from the SEC. The first 3 weeks at least, and some other kick times. But November 29th, Black Friday, Georgia Tech at Georgia, prime time on ABC. Now a little sad news for me. The Egg Bowl is no longer on Thanksgiving night, which probably tells you something's going to be announced later on today that Texas and Texas A&M is back on Thanksgiving night. Do you expect that to be the case?
I do, and I love the Egg Bowl on Thanksgiving night, but I used to love A&M and Texas, and I think because it's renewed, because of the hostility between those two programs, I'll take the trade right now.
Ole Miss and Mississippi State, Black Friday at 2:30 on ABC. So your day on ABC on Black Friday will be Oklahoma State, Colorado at 11, Ole Miss, Mississippi State at 2:30, then Georgia Tech, Georgia at 6:30, Black Friday on ABC. Now, if you're old enough, when I was a kid, they would play games on Thursday, Friday, Saturday that weekend, and ABC would build it as the battle for the state, right? Battle for Mississippi, battle for Georgia, battle for Alabama with the Iron Bowl. All those games happened that weekend. It was billed that way. And they played them over Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So ABC getting back part of their history. But this tells me that Ole Miss, Mississippi State's off that prime time Thursday night game. I have not seen an announcement yet, but you can just put the puzzle pieces together. Texas A&M will be Thanksgiving night on either ABC or ESPN, going up against the NFL.
So where do you see the Egg Bowl?
The Egg Bowl is ABC at 2:30 on Friday.
I don't mind that. I think it would be a good Black Friday game. I also remember when A&M and Texas used to be on Black Friday. But just because of where they are, with how much those programs hate each other, I mean, I don't mind seeing this, at least for the first couple of years.
Well, I mean, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, the hate will continue at 2:30 on a Friday. And you Ole Miss and Mississippi State fans who watch us, you may like this. The Iron Bowl was played a couple of times on Thanksgiving Day, and truthfully, it sort of ruined Thanksgiving for me.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, if you're a fan of a program, you probably don't want your team playing that day.
And I know the Lions fans and Cowboy fans have built it in for years. Forrester says Egg Bowl should be a night game. It does feel like it should be. It's going to be 2:30.
Well, I would say this about year one of Jeff Lebby. I don't expect much from Lebby in year one. Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin came out and he said, this is the best roster I've had in Oxford. That game on paper doesn't look good right now. But I think A&M hosting Texas for what could be a game, whether or not Texas goes to a college football playoff or not.
Yeah, Texas A&M, not official yet, but looks like it's going to be the Thursday night Thanksgiving game when we get the announcement at some point, maybe before 1:30 when it becomes official a little bit later on today. We told you Oklahoma, Texas, 2:30 on ABC or ESPN. That's a move from their traditional 11 o'clock. We have a kick time. I don't know if this was previously announced or not, but South Florida and Alabama is official now, 6 o'clock on ESPN week 2. So South Florida, Alabama officially 6 o'clock, kick time at Bryant-Denny on ESPN for Week 2. Forrester, do you remember? Did we already know that? Is that one of those we already knew?
I don't remember seeing that before.
I don't either. I remember Western Kentucky was billed as a night game, right? I think that's a night game. So this may be new there. It is new for Houston and Oklahoma, 6:45 SEC Network. Now, that's a quality football game for the SEC Network there. And I did think that the great Tom Hart, Cole Kubelik, Jordan Rogers crew, they do a fantastic job. And I did think with expansion, they would get a better quality game. Houston and Oklahoma is a good game.
Well, you remember going back to 2016 when Tom Herman was the coach at Houston. They upset Oklahoma. I think it was week 1 of that college football season. Boy, Willie Fritz taking this program over, that would be a horrific loss for Brent Venables in Oklahoma. Yeah. We talked about how difficult their schedule is in the SEC, but that is a tricky out-of-conference game.
That is another thing I want to see when the schedule comes out, the quality of game that prime-time SEC Network crew and that slot gets on the SEC Network. So good for Cole and Tom Hart and Jordan there that they probably get an uptick in quality of games with the expanded schedule, seeing it right there with Houston and Norman. To play Oklahoma on that schedule. More of those releases coming up. Buster Olney in the next segment. A lot of baseball to talk about coming up. The show being brought to you in part today by our friends at Hemp Hill Services. Tell us about Hemp Hill again, LT.
Yeah, 205-229-2090. That is the number you need to call. Trusted in Birmingham's trust since 1954 for all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs. Adam, Chad, Andrew, they will take care of you. Tell them the next round sent you. For more information, hemphillservices.com.
All right, and don't forget Jace Sternberger later as well. He joins us at 11:45. The Stallions back in action at Protective Stadium. 1 o'clock Saturday. Michigan and Birmingham wraps up the regular season. You can be there, theufl.com, theufl.com for tickets. Buster Olney, he'll reset the Atlanta Braves for you after Ronald Acuna's season-ending injury. What to expect from the Braves down the stretch and maybe another pickup. Do they need that as we approach the trade deadline? And some other big baseball moves. Buster's on the other side right here on the next round.
Everything Alabama, all the time. Subscribe and set alerts at Roll Tide Pods on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
Let's face it, a home is one of the most powerful assets you can have, and our friends at Mortgage Right want to help you build wealth through home ownership. Mortgage Right is all about providing competitive rates, a variety of loan products, and a multitude of resources for a seamless home buying experience. They treat their borrowers like family and are always looking to bring more happy homeowners under their roof. See more by visiting mortgageright.com/TNR today and start living. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service. Hey, for all of your IT and printing needs, reach out to our friends at Xerox Business Solutions. Look, I'm still one of those old school guys. I print my notes every single day for the show. If you watch the show here on the next round, you see all the notes in front of me. From day one, Xerox Business Solutions, they've been with us here at the next round. Local for over 45 years. For all of your IT and printing needs, visit XeroxBusinessSolutions.com or call 205-969-3000. That's 205-969-3000.
When on YouTube, you constantly hear requests to please like and subscribe. Well, here at Disrupt Media, we aren't going to play that game. Those demands are frankly outdated. So we just want you to hit like or subscribe. It's like a choose-your-own-adventure novel. Pick a path, hit like, or hit subscribe. It's your call. We don't care which, just pick one. Or go to Roll Tide Pods and do it. Or War Damn Pods. Or the Disrupt Media YouTube channel. Or The Meltdown. Just make a decision and stick with it. Like or subscribe, the choice is yours.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the next round to tell you about my friends at Michelson Laser Vision, located conveniently UAB Highlands. Almost 20 years ago, I went in for the procedure. Only took 12 minutes for both eyes. When I went in, I had 2200 vision. I was legally blind. Now I have 20/15 vision, still 19 years later. Make the call today. Schedule a hassle-free consultation. 969-8100. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, Michelson Laser Vision. Make sure you tell them the next round sent you. 969-8100 or MichelsonLaserVision.com.
Golf season is here, and if you're looking for a great golf course with affordable rates, you need to check out the newly renovated Woodward Golf Club. Woodward Golf Club is a semi-private club with membership opportunities available, but is also open to the public. You can book tee times online at this hidden gem by going to golfwoodward.com. For only $195 per month, you can enjoy unlimited golf 7 days a week. Membership includes discounted cart fees, unlimited range balls, and the use of our practice facilities. For more information on memberships and the course, check us out online at golfwoodward.com.
Buster Olney in just a second. We'll talk about the Braves. We'll talk about Paul Skeens. We'll talk about the Mets. Talk about anything going on in baseball. Tell us about the great folks at the Inverness Country Club.
Yeah, find your sense of community at the Inverness Country Club. They've got memberships that fit everyone, the social, including that resort-style pool complex, the golf with a beautiful course, currently expanding the driving range. Maybe you relocated, you're retired. Inverness is a great place to network, meet new friends. Best days happen in Inverness. Remember, childcare, huge plus if you want to get out on the court or the course with the wife or have dinner. You can drop the kid right there on property. They're going to take care of that. Take a tour today of Inverness Country Club. Unbelievable hidden gem of a course. Call Aaron. Tell her the next round sent you. 205-991-8608. That's 205-991-8608 or online, iccalabama.com.
Buster Olney, ESPN, and the know everything about baseball guy for us. Buster, as you join us today, everybody who's a Braves fan is reaching for that panic button. Some people are calling it a slump right now. It's a long season, 5-5 over the last 10 games. I don't want to start pressing the panic button. But where are you on the Braves? Let's start first with the Acuna injury and then move on from there.
Yeah, to see him go down in a heap, you're just brokenhearted. Not only because you know you're not going to be able to see the greatness that we saw last year from one of baseball's most dynamic players, but you also have a question going forward. Now that he suffered essentially blew up his knee as he did in 2021, what's he going to be going forward? It's sort of like if you're a really old baseball fan and you remember when Mickey Mantle tore up his knee when he was 21 years old in the World Series, he never was the same in terms of being able to run, and that makes you kind of sad. Now, you mentioned the panic button. I can tell you this flat out. One person who's not panicking is Alex Anthopoulos, their general manager, because he's done this before, right? In 2000, I talked to Alex yesterday about this. In 2021, Acuna falls down in a heap in the outfield in Miami, and Alex's perspective at that time with the Braves playing 500, that team on paper wasn't nearly as good as this team that they have now. And his feeling was like, look, we have to send a message to our players that we're going to try to compete. And so within 72 hours, he trades for Stephen Vogt, a backup catcher. He trades for Jock Peterson. Subsequently, makes a deal for Eddie Rosario, makes a deal for Jorge Soler, Adam Duvall, and they go on and they win the World Series. Brian Sitker, their manager, told me earlier this year, the one thing about that group, it does not panic. And you would assume at some point, Austin Riley, as he gets back into the swing of things, he's going to hit. Michael Harris is going to hit. And I think after, talking to people in the organization, they're not going to make go out and big splash and trade for an outfielder now. I think they're going to hold their resources and see what the biggest need is. Starting pitcher, bullpen, maybe another position player goes down and they have to plug that hole. But there's a lot of confidence that they're going to be able to figure this out. And we saw when the year they won the World Series, you don't have to be the best team in the regular season to win the title. All you have to do is to get into the dance and then hope you get hot. Right now, the starting his pitching is pretty good. So you can understand why they're not overreacting given their experiences.
Hey, through his first 9 starts, Shota Imanaga was unhittable. And yesterday in Milwaukee, and we know through 55 games, the Brewers are a good squad. But for them to go a 10 spot and for his ERA to balloon over a run in one game, what happened yesterday in Milwaukee?
So I thought his stuff was just was absolutely flat. And on top of that, you know that teams now have a lot of video to work on, and they're going to be making their adjustments. But they hit him hard. And I think for a pitcher who doesn't have dominant stuff, like Paul Skeens, when he pitches, if he's got good stuff, nobody's got a chance. Imanaga's not that same type of guy, where he's throwing 92 to 94. And if he's off just a little bit, then he has the potential to get hammered. And that's what happened yesterday. The good thing is, this is someone, what's the name of the book he wrote in Japan? Like the pitching Bible. I think he wrote the Imanaga pitching Bible. He wrote that at like age 28. I think he's got confidence that he's going to be able to make adjustments and figure it out. That probably was the sort of eye-opener for him that was inevitable, pitching in the big leagues for the first time.
I should know this, but in the Japanese pro leagues and some of the leagues over there, do they play the same type of schedule that we do here in the U.S.? Do they pitch every fourth or fifth day?
No, they have extra days built in. It's usually once a week. In fact, last Friday, we were in St. Louis because we had the Cardinals and the Cubs on Sunday Night Baseball, and they had a rain out on Friday. And internally, the Cubs, it was like a blessing in disguise because Imanaga had been going 5 days, and they knew they had to give him extra rest at some point. So when they had the rain out on Friday, the internal conversations with the Cubs were, oh, you know what? This is great. We'll back him up into that series against Milwaukee. Let's just give him a few extra days off. So this is an adjustment. It has been early on. And you're going to see the Cubs moving forward. They're going to give him more days off rather than have him pitch in that really aggressive schedule they have in Major League Baseball.
Okay, you mentioned Paul Skeens. And through 4 starts, it looks historic. The strikeouts are up and it's more than one an inning. Just give me your scouting report on Paul Skeens moving forward.
So I had him on my podcast last Friday. It was the first time I'd ever spoken with him. And what just jumped out to me was how measured he is. Like he clearly has a lot of confidence. This is a guy who was a two-way player. And when he transferred to LSU from the Air Force Academy, he comes from a military family. He decided, what gives LSU the best chance to win a World Series? And that would be if Paul Skeens devoted himself to pitching. And since he's done that, he's been unbelievable. But the thing and look, if you can throw 101, 102 miles per hour and you have a nasty, change-up splitter thing that he throws, plus a great breaking ball, the hitters are completely at the mercy of his stuff because he just outstuffs everybody, and he seems to have a good feel for pitching. And the thing that jumped out to me the most was that personality built on coming from a military family where he didn't take anything for granted. It's pretty clear. And he likes process. And I asked him, as his star rises and, he's beginning his career. And I said, look, you got a bunch of idiots like me asking for your time. How are you handling that? And he was great, saying, generally speaking, he'd rather not talk to the media, but he's trying to figure out a balance and how to deal with that. A really smart guy with great stuff. You hope he stays healthy.
We know the Mets are bad, Buster, but they're having a historically awful May. They have lost 7 of 8, 13 of 16, 16 games back of the Phillies. But what the hell was Jorge Lopez doing yesterday?
So he got incredibly frustrated on the mound, and I think that he kind of made an excuse with the umpire. There was an argument over a check swing with Freddie Freeman in which Jorge was clearly wrong. He yells at the umpire. He gets ejected, and he walks off the mound, and he throws his glove into the stands. And then after the game, when reporters asked him about it, he said he didn't regret doing it. He said, "Look, I've been." When he initially spoke, the reporters thought that he said, I'm on the worst team in baseball. What he said was, I'm the worst teammate in baseball. And then a reporter asked him to clarify. He goes, you know what, both. I'm on the worst team in baseball, and I'm the worst teammate in baseball. He kind of owned it in a weird way. I thought the Mets totally scapegoated him yesterday. Like, it is going so bad for them. You gave the context, and Pete Alonso gets hurt. Edwin Diaz gets hurt. It would have been a great opportunity for a rookie manager to talk about Jorge Lopez and say, look, I throwing his glove into the stands was a really bad idea, but we're all going through a frustrating time. We're all work together. I'm going to talk to him. Instead, late last night, they designate him for assignment. And I said to, we just had our Zoom conference call for Sunday Night Baseball prep. And I said, can you imagine if Pete Alonso had done the same thing? The stories in New York would have been like, gritty, gutty Pete loves to compete, and he's frustrated with losing, and he can't stand it anymore. Instead, the Mets sort of toss him overboard. I thought it was silly, and it's a reflection to me of the culture they have there. I think it's making it very easy for David Stearns, head of baseball operations, just say, you know what? We're going to be sellers. Harrison Bader, Pete Alonso, Adam Ottavino, Wainwright, Diekman, on and on and on. They have a lot of players that I think are going to be attracted by other teams at the trade deadline.
7-19 in May, by the way, for the Mets.
Woo!
Not very good. What is good is young talent in the league. And last night, Gunnar Henderson, who, by the way, was born in June of 2001, if that just puts it in context for you, had another big home run. He's got 18 of them. The young talent in Major League Baseball seems to be at a monumental level right now, and the Orioles are a great reflection of that, aren't they?
Without a doubt. And look, they tanked for 4 years, and give their front office credit, because we've seen teams tank and they didn't pick the right players. The Orioles guys picked the right players. Gunnar Henderson is not, the first pick in the draft like Paul Skeens was. He was a second-round pick. Unbelievable athlete. And the confidence that he has when he's swinging right now is crazy. And here's the thing. He is clearly one of the top candidates to win the MVP. He's leading the major league in home runs, and it's reasonable. You can make a reasonable argument that he's not even the front runner, that Bobby Witt Jr. of the Kansas City Royals, the front runner to be the American League MVP. And then Mason Wynn, who clearly is developing, and part of this Cardinals surge they've had over the last couple weeks. You're 100% right. This sport is loaded with these great, young, dynamic players. Gunnar Henderson is a guy you just can't take your eyes off of because of the power and because of the confidence. And I love, as he's getting more time in the big leagues, he's only been in the big leagues, a year and a month. He's developing some of the coolest bat flips that you've ever seen. And it's sort of like, yeah, I did it again. And he's a great kid, and it's fun to watch him play.
Not young when it comes to Major League Baseball years, but Seth Lugo, he's had a solid career. But what he's doing right now in Kansas City has been amazing. I mean, you can make an argument. He is your American League Cy Young, along with, you mentioned, Bobby Witt being the American League MVP. What has changed for Lugo?
He might tell you nothing has changed. I can remember when he was with the Mets having a conversation with him, and Seth is I mentioned measured when it comes to Paul Skeens. Seth is the same way. He's very understated. And first time I talked to him, I said, I hear you you don't want to work in the bullpen. You'd rather be a starting pitcher. And he's like, that's true. Here's why I think it would really work for me. But he never complained. He did what he was asked. He would always lobby with the teams that he was on that he wanted to be a starting pitcher. And it's not really until he signed with the San Diego Padres that he began to get that opportunity. And now he's thriving. A great curveball, a great understanding of what he's doing on the mound. And you're right. As we sit here today, Seth Lugo, who was considered 2-3 years ago to sort of be a journeyman pitcher, he is the front runner to be the starting pitcher for the American League in the All-Star game.
Buster, where are you Sunday night?
I'm in Philadelphia. We've got the Cardinals. We got the Phillies. We're hoping to have a conversation with not only Mason Wynn, who's just this crazy athlete, Paul Vaulter in high school, but also maybe a sit down with Bryce Harper. We're working on that today.
Well, bring some ice cream because you need to cool him down. He's been a little hot lately. Both playing, but also under the collar. There were some calls and such. He's Buster Olney, one of a kind, ESPN. We appreciate your time, Buster. Have a blessed week.
Okay, guys. Always fun to talk.
Thank you, man. We appreciate Buster Olney with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline, JohnstonRVCenter.com. Speaking of Johnston RV, mental health minute here. LT is about to give us that. I will tell you, LT, we talked yesterday about some mental health moments. One, Lexi Thompson, the golfer who started playing in the U.S. Open, at 12 years old, is playing starting today her 18th U.S. Open, and she's announced it'll be her last one. She's retiring at age 29. So you wonder about her mental health from 12 to 29. But more importantly was not Matt Stafford, but Stetson Bennett, who returned to your Rams yesterday after an undisclosed mental health issue last year. He's had treated, and he has come back to the Rams. And I wanted your thoughts on Stetson being back, competing really to be the number 3 quarterback for the Rams, but mostly getting his mental health back in order.
Yeah, I know Les Snead and Sean McVay were high on Stetson Bennett. And look, Stetson Bennett was a hell of a player. You can talk about the supporting cast around him at Georgia, winning back-to-back national championships, but I thought he turned into a borderline elite college quarterback towards the end there. And I think he's going to be a really good quarterback in this system. Now they go out and they get Jimmy Garoppolo on the cheap for a guy that has been to a Super Bowl before. So you're right. Bennett looks like he will be the 3, but he could be the future quarterback still of the LA Rams. So excited for him. Again, you never know who's suffering out there. And a guy that was, making money now, back-to-back national championships. And this is crazy. 12% of men aged 18 to 25 seriously considered committing suicide at some point in the past year.
18 to 25.
18 to 25, and it gets worse with age. Look, this stuff hit me like a ton of bricks a couple of years ago in my late 40s. So you never know when it's going to happen. I kind of had a relapse a couple of nights ago. It's just something that's going to come back. But you got to get in front of this. When you talk to somebody, you know things that will help kind of calm the situation down. Again, very important to get in front of it. 988 is the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. If you need to talk to somebody, if you're feeling depressed and sad, feeling worthless, hopeless about the future, feeling a lot of guilt and low self-worth, thoughts of suicide, loss of appetite. These are some of the symptoms. Get in front of it. Start the conversation with your doctor. May is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, and the Men's Mental Health Medical Minute is brought to you by our friends at Johnston RV.
That's right. JohnstonRVCenter.com. 2 great locations. If you're looking for the best deal, they have that for you all the time for you. All new pricing and guarantee, best warranties, and the best value. It's at JohnstonRVCenter.com. JohnstonRVCenter.com. Decatur and Coleman, right up I-65. You can't beat those fine folks right there. We love Nick supporting the great cause as we bring Mental Health Awareness Month to the forefront here on the next round. When we come back, our 40 and 40 team today, we move into number 30. And I think this is our first SEC team we get to. I believe that is correct. Number 30, and it's our first SEC team. That's next when we come back right here on TNR.
Everything Next Round is on demand now in the podcast section at nextroundlive.com.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast, The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
If renting is putting a dent in your bank account, here's your sign from the universe that it's time to buy a new home. And who better to help you through the ins and outs of home buying than our friends at Mortgage Right. With Mortgage Right, you don't have to worry about becoming a short notice mortgage expert because they do all the heavy lifting for you. They're trusted mortgage professionals and they'll help you choose the right mortgage option and stand by your side every step of the way. Visit mortgageright.com/TNR to buy before renting runs you dry. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
Every day, someone is ridiculed and mocked for the clothing they chose to wear. It's a harsh reality we all must face. But you have the chance to change all of that with one visit to nextround.store. For just a few minutes of browsing, you will observe so many clothing options, from hats to hoodies to t-shirts. Please, for yourself or someone you love, go to nextround.store and embrace the warmth of true attire.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about my friends at Michelson Laser Vision, located conveniently UAB Highlands. Almost 20 years ago, I went in for the procedure. Only took 12 minutes for both eyes. When I went in, I had 20/200 vision. I was legally blind. Now I have 20/15 vision, still 19 years later. Make the call today. Schedule a hassle-free consultation. 969-8100. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, Michelson Laser Vision. Make sure you tell them the Next Round sent you. 969-8100 or MichelsonLaserVision.com.
Golf season is here, and if you're looking for a great golf course with affordable rates, you need to check out the newly renovated Woodward Golf Club. Woodward Golf Club is a semi-private club with membership opportunities available, but is also open to the public. You can book tee times online at this hidden gem by going to golfwoodward.com. For only $195 per month, you can enjoy unlimited golf 7 days a week. Membership includes discounted cart fees, unlimited range balls, and the use of our practice facilities. For more information on memberships and the course, check us out online at golfwoodward.com.
Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
Paul Skeen's numbers, by the way. He's only the sixth starting pitcher since 1901, so that's a pretty small group, right? Sixth starting pitcher since 1901 to have 30 strikeouts and less than 5 walks in his first 4 starts.
Yeah, I've been backing him at Lance's lock. He's got too good of stuff.
30 strikeouts, 22 innings.
Yeah, I mean, he is real deal right now, immediately. And you just wonder how Pittsburgh's going to utilize him, because Pirates don't have a chance down the stretch. So how much are they going to limit him? Pirates right now, 6.5 games back of the Brewers, sitting at 26-30. And, I don't think they're going to make a run in the postseason.
The Braves in action, 6:20 tonight. Braves hosting the Nationals, and the A's are in town coming up this weekend. Before LT tells us about Gutter Cap, 2 legal things. One of them, all charges dropped against Scotty Scheffler by the Louisville Police Department.
Shocking.
And that officer there, though there was new audio that I was listening to.
Oh, I didn't get to hear the audio.
Yeah, where there was a discussion between another police officer and Scotty about the incident that happened, and that police officer did talk about the other officer falling to the ground, and Scheffler continued to pull away, and Scheffler was discussing, I thought he was just a security guard, and the guy was like, why would you not stop for a security guard?
That's a good point.
Yeah, but he was very level-headed. There was no yelling or, he was very apologetic during the conversation.
I'm still going to stick to it. I think the guy stumbled, was embarrassed, and that's why he pushed so hard to arrest Scheffler.
Possibly, but all charges dropped, and Scheffler, and without prejudice as well. It's not all charges dropped, but anything like he still had some guilty or something like that was without prejudice, so nothing more that you can do with that. Also, this is another bad moment for the Kansas City Chiefs in this offseason, and it impacts an Alabama player, and it involves the city of Tuscaloosa. 2 misdemeanor warrants charges for Isaiah Buggs, the former Alabama star, now with the Kansas City Chiefs, played with a couple other NFL teams before the Chiefs. Second-degree cruelty to dogs is what he's charged with. Apparently, at his former home, there were 3 dogs on the back porch with no access to food or water when they arrived. Isaiah Buggs' attorney says those are not his dogs. He don't know whose dogs they are and did not know they were on the property. Reading the story from ESPN.com, he is the owner of a hookah lounge. Am I saying that right? A hookah lounge?
Yep, hookah.
In Tuscaloosa that the city, for some reason, wants closed. And they've arrested him 2 other times without any paperwork. And they, according to his attorney, have threatened him with making this dog thing public if he doesn't give up his business license for the hookah lounge. And Isaiah Buggs says, I've got receipts, and we're going to release the receipts on the city of Tuscaloosa soon.
Well, look, I don't know who actually left the dogs out there with water and food, but pieces of shit, whoever did. And maybe we should put them on a chain and leave them out back for a little bit.
Were they chained, or were they just on the back porch closed off?
I don't know. I read white pit bull, black Rottweiler. There was a screened-in back porch.
Yeah, screened-in back porch. So
basically limited to where they were with no food or water. Temperatures hitting mid to high 80s. Just pathetic. Like, some people just don't need dogs. If you can't be responsible for a dog. I don't know how political this gets with this hookah lounge Sounds like they have had a lot of back and forth.
But he says that those aren't his dogs.
Yeah,
that's
and if
his
they're
side
not,
of the story.
But they're somebody's dogs.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. I don't know if they're bugs or not.
Well, if it's a documentary and they want him out, it could be it could be a local Tuscaloosa police officer's dog. You never know.
Well, I would hope that they wouldn't go to this low of means to say that somebody is abusing animals.
I don't think so.
To get to their point. I bet this actually happened. Again, I don't know if it was bugs or somebody else's. They need to find out, though.
Yeah, it could have been someone else who was living in the apartment there with him. But it looks like it's going to be a lot more tangled of a mess than what it looked like on the surface there with Isaiah Buggs. All right, tell us about Gutter Cap, and we'll get to our 40 and 40 team here.
Yeah, right now 45% off the retail price from our good friend Chris Stewart at Gutter Cap of Birmingham. Cap it, don't snap it. Gutter Cap is a patented aluminum panel system. It will fit over most existing gutters. It will keep that debris out forever. You'll never have to clean the gutters again. It's a dirty, dangerous job. You get on the roof, you slip, you fall, snap the neck and die. No good to the wife or kids. Make the phone call that I made, 205-823-2212 or guttercapbirmingham.com.
People are telling me that they believe Buggs didn't actually live in that house, that it was a rental property that he owns.
Yeah. Again, somebody had the dogs.
Yeah. All right, here we go. It is time for our 40 and 40 team now. We're up to number 30. It's brought to you by our friends at MyBookie, mybookie.ag. NBA basketball gets back in action tonight. So does the Stanley Cup Conference Finals. They continue tonight. And baseball all day long. You can play that at mybookie.ag, mybookie.ag. Promo code next round to get you started. And they've got the casino games as well for you. Use the QR code when it's on your screen, mybookie.ag, mybookie.ag. Go look it up online, and they will take care of you with casino games and sports betting right there at mybookie.ag. Our team today at number 30 on our countdown. Next line up, the Kentucky Wildcats. Our first SEC team comes rolling in here. 30 is a little low from where Mark Stoops has had this team.
Yeah, for
recently.
where he's had it. I mean,
Yeah.
7 straight bowl games for Mark Stoops. And, there's an argument that he is one of the top 3 or 4 coaches in the SEC just based on expectations and resources. Again, I'll go back to what I always said about Stoops. It was Escape from Lexington. I thought with that name, once he won 7 or 8 games, he'd try to get out of there. He's made a lot of money. He's comfortable in that situation. They've got not 1, not 2, but 3 transfer quarterbacks. Brock Vandergrift should be the guy, though, coming in from Georgia. Heard they paid him around $700,000 in NIL. I look at this schedule. They're probably going to be favored in 7 games. Now, the bad is they lose Ray Davis. They lose Tavion Robinson, both guys now in the NFL, but you get back really good receivers in Dane Key and Barry and Brown.
Okay, you see the stat on the screen here, part of the Little T's stat package that she gives us. An alarming thing, you get 4 SEC conference home games every year. They are 1-3 in SEC home games the last 2 seasons. You got to defend your home turf.
Well, you look at the home games this year. They start with South Carolina, a game they'll be favored in. Then they've got Georgia, a game they're not going to win. Vanderbilt, a game that they're going to win. And they've got Auburn. That's kind of a coin flip game. I think they could get 3-1 at home this year. I think they're going to be favored, a slight favorite against Auburn. Again, coin flip game. But you start to look at the schedule in this newly improved, expanded SEC. If they go 7-5 again, pretty strong season.
Pretty strong season for them in Kentucky, coming in at number 30. Road games, though, at at Ole Miss and at Tennessee that sort of stick out there for you in the conference play of some tough, challenging road games for the Kentucky Wildcats.
Where would you put Stoops right now in the SEC? You've got Kirby 1. I think.
Well, I tell you what, let's do that at 11 o'clock. Let's lay that list out. I've been interested in that.
Okay.
Let's do 2 lists at 11 o'clock because I also. SEC Media Days coming. Now, we'll save that for tomorrow, maybe when Brown's back, and where you sort of slide in Kentucky in the overall standings. Because I'm interested where Kentucky is in the overall standings, where Auburn is in the overall standings, that kind of stuff, too. Like where they because there's no divisions anymore. So when we voted SEC Media Days, where's Kentucky going to be? Where's Auburn going to be? Teams like that middle of the pack, maybe, upper middle of the pack, depending on how you feel about it.
I think I'm higher on a lot more people than on the Auburn Tigers this year, but I had somebody come up to me at Odie's last night. He's like, "What do you think that win total is?" And I said, "It's 8, 9, or possibly 10."
Yeah, that's a high number, man.
It is.
That's playoff contention into November.
But it all goes down to, and we saw a dude that had Peyton Thorne's hairdo from the past season last night, did we, Rocky? Had the high and tight, kind of the fade.
Yep. It was. It's a good look.
Yeah, it was definitely Peyton Thorne's look from this past year. But if Peyton Thorne is better than advertised, I think Auburn's going to have a very interesting season.
Kentucky's our team today. The Wildcats in at number 30 as we slide closer and closer to SEC Media Days. So one team every day on the show until we get to SEC Media Days in Dallas coming up in July. Team number 30 today, Kentucky, voted on by you, our viewers and our listeners. 94 of you in the vote this year. We appreciate all those. Brought to you by our friends at MyBookie, mybookie.ag, mybookie.ag. You get the opportunity there to play the casino games online, but also all the sports betting you want. Start out with the promo code next round at mybookie.ag. One note from the NFL. Taysom Hill, you a fan or not a fan?
I am not a fan.
Not a fan of Taysom Hill.
I think he is one of the most overpaid players, in the history of the National Football League.
Wow.
Maybe the most overpaid. Well, I won't say that. We've had the Brock Osweilers and some of these quarterbacks, and I guess he's considered a quarterback, but for what he does, maybe the most overpaid in history.
This may be a year where he does more than he's ever done before. According to reporters who've been covering the OTAs, the voluntary workouts in New Orleans, Taysom Hill has worked out and run drills at quarterback, at tight end, at fullback, at halfback, and as a slot receiver.
Look, I think Taysom Hill is a hell of an athlete. I thought he was a good quarterback at BYU. I think he's a great football player. He's getting paid borderline quarterback money for coming in and getting in the Wildcat and trying to get a yard down on a third and short, a fourth and short, situational stuff. Again, I've just never understood this contract.
Yeah, really, really interesting OTAs for Taysom Hill, and hopefully, Derek Carr still the quarterback down there?
Yeah,
still the quarterback down there. For you Saint fans, hopefully a better season for you guys coming up this year. Odie's last night, you were there. What was the question last night?
The question was, what came first, ESPN or Britney Spears?
Ooh, ESPN to me, it was there in 79, I think.
You're dead on. I remember the first broadcast basketball game. I remember a couple of dudes flipping off the camera. They thought that would be funny. But ESPN debuted in September of 79. Britney Spears?
Britney Spears, let's see. I think Britney Spears is older than ESPN. I'm going to put her right around 77.
December of 81.
Ooh.
Not only do you not like Britney Spears, you think she looks a lot older. She has aged a lot.
Yeah.
There's some wear on those tires.
She's
had a life.
So 81. So ESPN a couple of years older.
These are the little things you learn at Odie's Tavern. We're out there every Wednesday night at the original location in Crestline. Stop by, enjoy your great lunch, live music every Friday and Saturday night. Not just at the Crestline location, newest location right there in Homewood, Edgewood, the corner of Oxmoor and Broadway. Ice cold beer buckets full of Bud Light. Get in and see Will Haver and that great staff, Odie's Tavern.
Okay, quickly, Forrester, chime in on this too, Rockstar. Things you saw, Keith says Australian rule football. Early days ESPN, things that would be on there. Australian rules football was on there.
And I liked it.
I did too. I didn't understand it, but
because
I
had never seen it before.
Yeah, I'd watch it and try to figure out the rules.
Bowling was on there a lot.
Bowling was on there. Do you remember arena football when it was first starting was on there? The Iowa Barnstormers played games on there a lot.
I think I told this story. I went to see the American Underdog or whatever the Kurt Warner movie was, and they would have real cuts from the ESPN2 broadcast, and it was Mike Golick. It was Kirk Herbstreit, and I forgot who the third was that was on a lot of those games, but it was big-time names back in the ESPN2 days.
Yeah. What about you, Forrest? Do you remember a show that used to be on or a sport?
Yeah. I used to watch a lot of billiards on ESPN.
Yeah, there's a Black Widow lady, right?
Yeah, the Asian.
Yeah, she was the Black Widow.
Jeanette Lee, I think.
Jeanette Lee was on there.
Forrester, strong pool.
I watched a lot of pool.
It seems like in the mornings, wasn't that Austin lady? I don't know her first name. Like she did. Oh, she did fitness, right? Outside.
Was the girl that married Chris Fowler, one of the girls.
Really?
Yeah, was one of the main fitness girls.
I didn't know Chris Fowler ever got married.
Yeah. And so, they would sit out there and basically it was like jazzercise, whatever it was.
But they would do a workout usually outside, wasn't it?
And it was just a bunch of old dudes that weren't exercising sitting there with a cup of coffee watching these.
No, they were watching Denise Austin. Thank you, Paul. Watching Denise Austin.
Yeah, I guess it was the other girl. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that Fowler married one of those.
But speaking of Fowler, he used to do that high school show that I loved.
Scholastic Sports America.
I'd watch that show.
He always had a black bomber jacket on.
Yeah. Today we're in the backwater lakes of Minnesota with one of the best youth hockey players of all time.
Dude, Fowler grinded early in his days.
Yeah.
I mean, it shows you all these guys. Like Herb Street now, probably the most powerful guy at ESPN. I mean, him and Fowler. But probably Herb Street. But to start, in the backyard of Iowa doing Barnstormers games to where he is right now is pretty amazing.
Jennifer Dempster is Fowler's wife, says Smuff.
Okay.
I don't know if she was a fitness person. Slow pitch softball absolutely was on there. I remember seeing King in his court would jump on there and play against a full team. He was out there with like 5 people.
It was tough back
early
in the
days of
day.
ESPN seems like it was better than it is now.
I don't know, but it was more of a novelty because they didn't have these they didn't have the money to have these contracts. And I remember it was Chris Berman. Budweiser was one of the first, and much like they've been with us, and we appreciate how big AB has been for us. They were one of the first sponsors for ESPN.
Yeah.
And I remember there was some controversy years ago about maybe Budweiser being involved in I forgot what it was, but Berman was like, they've been with us since day one. We would be in a parking lot without Anheuser-Busch.
Without Anheuser-Busch. Just the early days of ESPN. That's what you learn at Odie's. Part of our show continues on the other side. Jace Sternberger from the Stallions in the final segment of the show. But when we come back to football, where Mark Stoops fits into the ranking of SEC coaches, we'll throw together a quick list there. We'll hear from Greg Sankey on the futures of scheduling in the SEC. From the SEC meetings as that winds down. Today is TV announcement time, 1:30 for the full release from the SEC offices, but a lot have been leaking out. We'll recap some of that for you. And we'll continue the conversation on basketball, especially with Alabama getting Mark Sears back. And with Sears back in Tuscaloosa and Broome back at Auburn, got a couple All-Americans that could have both Auburn and Alabama ranked in the top 10. In the preseason. One person thinks so, at least. All that still to come on the show. That is being brought to you by our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. 16 locations around Alabama. Find the one nearest you to help you stay on top of your health. Urology Centers of Alabama, 205-930-0920. UrologyCentersAlabama.com. Find that location near you. Great urologists on standby to help you out. And 16 locations. Everything from prostate health all the way to kidney stones and everything in between. Stay on top of it with UrologyCentersAlabama.com.
Follow Rockstar on Twitter @RockstarBHM.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service. Hey, Lance Taylor from the next round to tell you about my friends at Michelson Laser Vision, located conveniently UAB Highlands. Almost 20 years ago, I went in for the procedure. Only took 12 minutes for both eyes. When I went in, I had 2200 vision. I was legally blind. Now I have 20/15 vision, still 19 years later. Make the call today. Schedule a hassle-free consultation. 969-8100. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, Michelson Laser Vision. Make sure you tell them the next round sent you. 969-8100 or MichelsonLaserVision.com.
The World Wide Web is a large place. Find all your favorite people and content in the same spot. NextRoundLive.com is full of wonderful tidbits about the show you know and love. Find our gear, listen to your favorite personalities, follow our socials, and enjoy your trip to NextRoundLive.com.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about our friends at Gutter Cap. Gutter Cap's that patented aluminum cover system that fits over most existing gutters to keep out debris and eliminate that gutter cleaning. It's backed with a lifetime warranty, almost 20-year service record right here in Birmingham. Stay off that dangerous ladder forever. 45% off the retail price now if you call guttercapbirmingham.com. Call my good friend Chris Stewart now, 205-823-2212. Cap it, don't snap it. It's Gutter Cap. Spring weather is here, and our friends at Hemp Hill Services are offering a $69 HVAC tune-up plus 10% off any service call when you mention the Next Round. Call Adam, Chad, and the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Make sure your HVAC unit is ready to keep up with the changing weather. Hemp Hill Services, locally owned and operated independent train dealer. The team can service all makes and models. For all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs, call Hemp Hill Services. It's hard to stop a train. 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com. That's 205-229-2090, hemphillservices.com.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Final hour of the show. Trash with LT coming up in the next segment. Jace Sternberger at the end. TheUFL.com for tickets. If you want to go see the Stallions in action, coming up Saturday at 1 p.m., final regular season home game. They do have a playoff conference championship game the following week there at Protective Stadium. You can get tickets for that as well. TheUFL.com, TheUFL.com. Alabama gets Mark Sears and Jaron Stevenson back before the NBA draft. We'll talk more about that in a second. Auburn is your men's golf national champions. They finished the deal yesterday against Florida State with some excitement out there in California. You saw it on the Golf Channel there, and the Tigers get to bring home their trophy as the best team in golf. And that was a big moment yesterday with the rolling of Toomer's Corner and everything. And we've talked a lot of college football today with the SEC meetings continuing on. We will get back to that in a second. Update on Alabama softball, as I believe they are the lowest seeded team out at Oklahoma City. They're the 14th seeded team. Supposed to play the 6th-seeded UCLA today at 11 o'clock. There is weather in Oklahoma City right now, so they're on a weather delay to start that broadcast. When they play, they will play on ESPN, and you can watch that, the double elimination tournament, starting off with Alabama and UCLA, and Oklahoma is on Alabama's side of the bracket as well. Oklahoma and Duke will follow, and then later on tonight, Stanford and Texas, and then Oklahoma State and Florida to wrap up the first 4 games of the Women's College World Series. Before we get to the SEC meetings, what Greg Sankey said and Mark Stoops' place on the coaching tree in the SEC, I'll tell you this hour of the show brought to you by our friends at Champy's world-famous fried chicken. Champy's Chicken, Highway 119 in Alabaster. You cannot beat Sterling and the customer service you get there. You can't beat Sterling and what he does to get his chicken ready. He brines it overnight. He cooks it to order. Comes out piping hot. It's fantastic. I love 2 big breasts and all the sides that go with it. Hand-cut chicken fingers, Mississippi Delta recipe tamales, and so much more. It's champy'schicken.com, Highway 119 in Alabaster. Okay, on the coaching tree in the SEC, where do you slot Mark Stoops, our 40-40 team today at number 30, Kentucky? Where does you look around the SEC, there may not be great personalities anymore, but a solid list of coaches.
Solid list of coaches. I have got Stoops number 4.
What?
Yeah.
You got Mark Stoops number 4 overall.
Yeah. I mean, what he's done at Kentucky, I've only got Kirby Smart in front. I've got Brian Kelly at number 2. I've got Kalen DeBoer at number 3.
You don't have Sarkisian ahead.
No.
You don't have Steve Sarkisian ahead of Mark freaking Stoops.
Oh, my God. They basically got the same record, but Sarkisian had Washington and USC. Sarkisian has had 1 good year as a head coach. He's won 10 games one time. Stoops has won 10 games at Kentucky.
Okay, help me out, chat room.
Yeah, please help him out.
Sark greater than Stoops. Sark greater than Stoops.
I mean, degree of difficulty for Kentucky football is, I mean, it's
this is a trap you fall into sometimes.
That is a D job.
On degree of difficulty, because it should be factored in, but you guys got drunk on Dan Mullen on degree of difficulty, and then you got to a real job, and it ended up not being the same.
I mean, you say that. He had a bad year and a half, and I'm not a Mullen fan. But Mullen was a really good coach at Mississippi State.
You think it's easy to win at Ole Miss? And look at what Kiffin did, what Kiffin has done.
I think Kiffin's done a good job. He hasn't done what Freeze did at Ole Miss.
When Stoops has gotten into the game against Georgia.
And he ain't got the players. I can't believe you don't remember. Jimmy SEC, you don't remember how bad Kentucky's been. I got this stat. Do you know there are 2 teams that are no longer in the SEC that have more SEC championships than Kentucky in football?
Yeah.
Did you know Georgia Tech and Tulane have more SEC championships than Kentucky? That's how difficult this Kentucky job is.
Keith says Stoops is 5th or 6th for him. AM Golfer, agree, LT. Stoops greater than Sark. Stoops has done a great job at Kentucky, but I don't think Stoops could do what Sark has done at Texas.
Well, you know, personality fits. I don't know. I just know Sark has done nothing up until last year. Nothing. Great offensive coordinator.
Okay, he went in where Texas was. You have to admit he has built that up nicely.
Yeah. Now, NIL helps.
It does. It does.
But again, Sark.
So you got Kirby, Kelly, DeBoer, Stoops.
Yep.
Ahead of Sark.
And then I've got Freeze. I got Freeze to run on my top 5. And then 6, I've got like a tie with Kiffin and Sark. I don't know who I would rather have. I think I would lean Sark just because you don't get all the nonsense with Lane Kiffin.
Josh Heupel.
I've got Heupel at 7 right behind him. I got Drinkwitz at 8. Then I would go Venables or Elko, then Beamer, and then who cares?
Who's left in the who cares? Clark Lee.
Billy Napier,
Jeff
Sam Pittman, Jeff Lebby. Yeah.
Boy, so Stoops very, very high for you. That blew my mind when you said that.
7 straight bowl games for Kentucky.
I mean,
and they're doing it with bad offense year in and year out.
I mean, it's hard not to make a bowl game in the SEC. Well, I mean, their out of conference schedule. You will agree to me. Usually is 3 easy wins and Louisville.
Do you not remember how bad Kentucky was? They were 2-10 every year. Give Sark Kentucky and see what happens. Disaster.
Daniel, does Texas and Kentucky play each other this year? Does Texas and Kentucky play each other this year, Forrester? He's got all the SEC schedules.
I don't think they do.
Yeah. Zach says Kentucky won a bowl game running the wing T, basically, with a wide receiver 1 year.
They play in Austin November 23rd. That would be so Sark to lose that game. Texas will be a double-digit favorite, though.
They will be. There's the Kentucky schedule. Southern Miss has fallen way off, should be a win. South Carolina's a toss-up game.
I think it's a win, though.
Georgia's a loss.
Yep.
Ohio State's not what it used to be because of NIL. The MAC has fallen way off. So you've got them 3-1 in their first 4.
Lose to Ole Miss.
Lose to Ole Miss. Should beat Vandy.
I think they beat Florida on the road.
I don't think they do. Florida's going to be better than people think. I think Auburn gets them up there. They lose at Tennessee. Murray State is in a rebuild. They lose to Texas, and they could lose to Louisville. They may not go to a bowl game. If they don't go to a bowl game,
well,
do you change your ranking?
No, they've been to 7. Well, yeah, if Sark goes back to a college football playoff and they don't go to a bowl game, we could flip this. But I don't know how you can't say what Stoops has done has been borderline incredible.
Oh, it's not incredible. It's been really good. And
so what has Sark done?
He just had a team in the playoffs.
First time he's ever won 10 games as a head coach.
Yeah.
First time ever.
He's the guy who has gone in there and rebuilt this team to sustain. They're going to be good this year.
They should be.
They're going to be good for a long, long time.
If they're not, you know who's going to get blamed? It'll be Sark.
It will be Sark, yeah. He's the guy in charge. Our friends at Way to Wellness, before we go to the SEC meetings in Destin and hear from Greg Sankey, cut one Rockstar, please. Way to Wellness helps you with so many things. Jumpstart your weight loss this summer. You can do that with our friends at Way to Wellness. Just go to their website at planforme.com, planforme.com. You'll find out there's no cookie cutter plan. Every plan is designed specifically for you by Leslie and her board certified team there. You see our guys going through the free consultation. You get a free consultation there with our friends at Way to Wellness as well. Find out more details at planforme.com. for that as well. No contracts, no sign-up fees, and even the Meltdown guys are having great success with Way to Wellness as well. So jump in and see what they can do for you. Planforme.com is Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living. Okay, the world of college football is really, really, really changing. You got to get used to some things you don't like. It will not happen this year, but in 2025, the NCAA is looking at this possibly happening. The ability to put corporate sponsor logos on the playing surface, on the field and on the courts. In football, you'd have an option of putting it either at midfield or at each of the 25s would be your choice. Corporate logos, midfield or at one of the 25s on the field. You like it or you dislike it?
I'm indifferent. I mean, I would be a major hypocrite to say. I mean, look at our loaded up set right here.
Does it take away from the quality of the show?
No, of course not. I could do a segment just on, injecting different sponsors and put this all together. If I was, let's say, Anheuser-Busch, I would go on the 25s. I think you're going to get more visibility with two more than just the one at midfield. But this is inevitable. Did you ever think we would see a time, jersey sponsorships, inevitable?
That's right here as well. NCAA also, while they're doing this, would allow corporate patches on jerseys starting in 2025 if schools want to do that.
It's a professional sport now. So this is no surprise. You're going to pay these kids. You might as well take the sponsorship money, roll with it. I don't have a problem with it, and I'm not surprised by it.
I remember, and you guys in the chat room will remember this as well, when Nike first put the swoosh.
Oh, it was controversial
on Alabama's jersey, and now you'd want it on there just for recruits. You like people are fighting to be Jumpman schools to get the Jumpman logo on there, a sort of a higher level of Nike.
Look, when I am poolside with a bunch of 17-year-olds that have more money than me, this is where the sport's going right now.
You were in Nashville at the On3 Elite.
The On3 Elite.
And that was the thing that would hit home to you, that the 17-year-olds at the pool with you had more money than you.
I got some great recruiting stories, too. The coaches they like, coaches they don't like.
So you were talking to some of the players?
Talked to the players, talked to some of the parents. That was what was fascinating to me. It wasn't necessarily guys that do what we do. We get to talk to those guys all the time. But seeing the players and their parents out in the wild. And Ronnie Brown was there. There was a lot of private equity. There was a lot of financial institutions there at the On3 event. Ronnie Brown, who is a financial guy in Atlanta now, got to talk to him for a good bit. But this is just the direction this thing is heading. The money has gotten massive.
Money is going to factor into SEC football scheduling as well, it looks like. Out of the SEC meetings yesterday, the buzz around the lobby room was the ADs and the SEC coaches were told that adding a 9th conference game, no talk about doing that at this meetings, but because we got schedules for 2 years, but adding a 9th conference game starting in 2026 could add $3 to $5 million per school in your pockets.
That's all you need to hear.
Would you add a 9th game? You get the tickets?
Well, I brought it up again. Inevitable, I thought, when we were in Nashville on Tuesday talking about this. Brown said it's kind of a wait and see for Sankey. He wants to see what the committee's going to do with this 12-team playoff. I still think the SEC is going to find at least 3 teams in when they go to nine-game in-conference schedule.
Here is Greg Sankey talking about the playoff committee taking the difficulty of the SEC schedules into consideration.
How do you evaluate? You look at Georgia's schedule. I really look at any of our schedules. You take Alabama 2 years ago with 2 losses at the end of games, both on the road to really high-quality teams. How does that become evaluated versus maybe an undefeated team? I think there's a weight on the committee that's new that I want to see how the committee processes that. And my encouragement is that we have an undefeated team, so they're in, is not the standard. It never was the standard. Obviously, that stirred up controversy last year. There is an evaluation about the strength of a team. And I look at Georgia's team last year, who lost 1 game in the very last game of the season. A lot of interesting plays. You're accountable for that. But you're also to be rewarded for the real strength of the schedule. And, I look at Georgia, they're at Alabama, they're at Texas, they're at Ole Miss. I'd be hard-pressed to, name another team that's going to face what I understand the predictions for next season would place as away games with that kind of quality. So I think the selection committee, and we've talked about this a bit, and the CFP management committee has to cope with what that means when you get down to selecting the best teams, those 7 non-conference champion teams to participate and fill out the 12-team bracket.
So how do you think the committee will look at these things?
I think it's going to be more eye test than it's ever been before, because you've got a little bit more leeway with 7. And it doesn't have to just be strictly numbers. Florida State obviously would have gotten in last year. You just wonder teams like Missouri and Ole Miss. I think it's going to be teams that are playing their best football into November, although they might have multiple losses if they're playing their best football. And I go back, when was it when Auburn they beat Georgia in the regular season and lost to them in the SEC championship game. Was that 16? 17? 17.
17.
Yeah. That Auburn team probably with, at that point, 3 losses still gets in.
If you slotted the Group of 5 champion, the ACC champion, the Big 12 champion, and then top 4 teams of the Big 10 and the SEC, that still leaves you one more spot open to throw somebody else in there.
That's why I will be shocked if the SEC gets less than 3 teams in. Year in, year out.
I don't think the SEC or the Big Ten will ever get less than 3.
Yeah. I would agree with that with the Big Ten, too.
Yeah. The question is, will the Big 12 and the ACC rise up to getting multiples in? And Notre Dame probably steals a bid from somebody on the reg.
It's going to be so hard because I think the Big Ten and the SEC are going to be viewed, obviously, as the alphas, which they should. I think the Big 12 is going to be better than advertised. And if the Big 12 has got 3 or 4 teams sitting at 10-2, I mean, there's a chance they only get 1, possibly 2 of those teams in, and they could be really good teams, but we might not know how good if we don't see some of those teams playing Big Ten or SEC schools.
One more thing in this segment after LT tells us about our friends at Woodhouse Day Spa. EG raved about Woodhouse yesterday on the show.
Oh, look, fantastic place to go. Get up there. They're located conveniently at the Summit Shopping Centers. You can go see Stuart and that great staff. You can order that perfect gift online for that special someone. You can go to birmingham.woodhousespas.com. They've got a menu of over 70 options, including massages, body treatment, skincare, waxing, nail services. Woodhouse Day Spa, voted America's best day spa since 2009. Again, order that special person gift online 24/7, birmingham.woodhousespas.com, or stop in, see Stuart and the great staff. Tell them the next round sent you.
Mark Sears coming back was a big story yesterday. You throw Mark Sears and Janai Broome into a group with R.J. Davis of North Carolina, Caleb Love of Arizona, and Hunter Dickinson of Kansas as 5 All-Americans who did not go to the NBA. They decided to come back to college. So those 5 All-Americans, whether they were first, second, or third teams, have all come back to college basketball. So Gary Parrish of CBS Sports puts out a ranking after the deadline last night of his top 25 plus 1. He's got Kansas with Hunter Dickinson, and some of Ryland Griffin is there, the number 1 team overall. He slides Alabama in at number 2.
I think you'll see a lot of people, like once it gets to preseason rankings, I think Alabama's more like 3 or 4, but they're definitely going to be top 5.
Houston, North Carolina, and UConn round out the top 5. Alex Carabin coming back yesterday to UConn.
Yeah, and R.J. Davis, as you mentioned, look, an incredible year for North Carolina, and one of the reasons Caleb Love probably went to Arizona. But R.J. Davis kind of in that boat that Mark Sears listed at 6 feet. Don't think he's 6 feet. Caleb Love, really interesting with his ability to score. He's a legit 6'3", 6'4".
Duke is 9, and then other SEC teams includes Auburn at 10. When you got Janai Broome back, your top 3 scorers back, and then the people you've brought in from the portal or in your recruiting class, Auburn, a preseason top 10, according to CBS Sports' Gary Parrish.
I'm not really surprised.
The rest of the league, Texas A&M at 11, Tennessee at 13, John Calipari, Arkansas at 15, DJ Wagner joining Cal at Arkansas yesterday.
I remember when DeJuan Wagner, his dad was getting hired, Milt Wagner, to coach with Calipari to bring in DeJuan to Memphis.
Florida 21 and Texas 22. No Kentucky in the preseason rankings. You know they're going to be pretty good. But you got Alabama, you've got Auburn in the top 10, then A&M, Tennessee, Arkansas, Florida, and Texas, 7 teams in the preseason top 25 at CBS Sports after the deadline last night. Throw Kentucky in that mix. That's pretty good basketball.
Just a few years ago, 2 teams were fighting to get in the NCAA tournament. It is arguably the best basketball conference right now. If you're a Tennessee fan, are you worried you missed a window? Because, again, they were a top 5 team last year. It just seems like Rick Barnes, once they get to the tournament, there is something there. And now you've got other SEC teams and programs that seem like they're getting better than Tennessee. Do you think that window is closed for Rick Barnes?
Maybe. It feels that way. So competitive now. But once again, we saw it last year with Alabama. Lost 11 games. Got into the tournament, got hot at the right time. Maybe they do it backwards one year. Maybe they struggle in the regular season and end up having a great year in the NCAA tournament. Edmonton, even the series last night with the Stars 2-2 now in that series. Florida and the Rangers go tonight. That series is tied at 7 o'clock on ESPN. And we go game 5.
Big game.
Dallas and Minnesota, 7:30 on TNT. Dallas leads at 3-1. Gets interesting if Minnesota wins at home to force it to a game 6.
If the game 6 goes back to Dallas, all of the pressure is on the Mavs. Again, teams down 0-3, 0-155 in the history of the NBA postseason. I love this game tonight. Big play at Lance'sLock.com.
All right. When we come back, Lance has our trash for you right here on the next round, brought to you by Bud Light.
Follow Scott Forrester on Twitter at ScottForresterTV.
You could win a Cadillac CT5 or your share of $25,000 in free play and cash at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. The more you visit, the more chances you have to win. Play the latest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can be a winner too. Come win your share during the Cadillac CT5 and $25,000 giveaway at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Drawings April 5th and 6th. Located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older. Must be present to win.
Golf season is here, and if you're looking for a great golf course with affordable rates, you need to check out the newly renovated Woodward Golf Club. Woodward Golf Club is a semi-private club with membership opportunities available, but is also open to the public. You can book tee times online at this hidden gem by going to golfwoodward.com. For only $195 per month, you can enjoy unlimited golf 7 days a week. Membership includes discounted cart fees, unlimited range balls, and the use of our practice facilities. For more information on memberships and the course, check us out online at golfwoodward.com.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. On game day, you never have to decide which teams to watch, only what combination of bites, burgers, wings, and more to order. Plus, where else are your favorite draft beers always poured at a frozen 29 degrees? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Stick around after the sun sets. Twin Peaks is open really late. Wind down with bourbon and late night bites. Only at Twin Peaks.
Things fall apart. There's even a book about it, but that doesn't mean you have to break the bank to fix them. Ryan Brown here for the next round. Our friends at Mortgage Right have a new renovation option that will make repairs and other home improvements easy. If you've recently purchased a home and find yourself short on cash, or you're looking to buy a fixer-upper, Mortgage Right's renovation loan program can help you spruce up your space. Repairs can be made to your roof, plumbing, flooring, and more with the help of top-notch mortgage professionals. So get your fix by visiting mortgageright.com/TNR. And MLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
Hey, you. Summer's here. Time to get hot. And at New Balance Birmingham, that's just what we got. For a summertime vibe, see what's inside. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280, right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
Every day, someone is ridiculed and mocked for the clothing they chose to wear. It's a harsh reality we all must face. But you have the chance to change all of that with one visit to nextround.store. For just a few minutes of browsing, you will observe so many clothing options, from hats to hoodies to t-shirts. Please, for yourself or someone you love, go to nextround.store and embrace the warmth of true attire.
Back with you at the next round. Land My Believer says Field of 68 has Bama at number 1. There'll be some people that will do that in the course of the year. I'm not even sure, when the AP poll comes out, if it'll be 1 or 2. Sometimes name brands jump on there. But a pretty interesting time in basketball. As we said earlier, probably has passed the 80s now of having Alabama and Auburn and UAB and now Samford. Sort of the heyday of what we had in the 80s when UAB, Alabama, and Auburn were all good at the same time.
Yeah, man. I no disrespect to Wimp and Sonny and the late Gene Bartow, but today's basketball, and look, it's a completely different era, but I think it is safe to say this is the best days we've had in this state.
Boise State, Appalachian State just announced a home-and-home series. 2025 at Boise State, 2027 at Appalachian State. That'll be a good game.
Yeah.
That's a good game announcement.
I just wonder if Boise's best days are behind them. Somebody's going to capture, Boise forever was that Group 5 team that was so good. And unfortunately for them, they didn't have an expanded college football playoff. And I had this conversation in Nashville this past week with Alex Golish, not with him, but about Alex Golish and how South Florida in year 2 has an opportunity to keep building on what he did with 7-6 in year 1, and they've got the resources. Would you be surprised if South Florida ends up being that Group 5 team that dominates over the next 3, 4, 5 years?
If Golish stayed there, yes. I have a feeling he is the next Florida coach.
And that's what kind of led to this conversation. I was talking to somebody, and I was like, I think Napier is going to get fired. I don't think there's any way around it with this schedule. If he doesn't, it's a miracle. If he does get fired and Golish is right there in state and wins 8, 9, 10 games, it seems like it's an automatic. And then their point was they countered, hey, look, he could make $4 or $5 million a year, and he doesn't have to battle the SEC. He can build something special there, and they year in, year out could be right there on the fringe of being that Group 5 team that gets to a college football playoff.
What? Okay.
Would you rather make $8 million at Florida battling the SEC or make $5 million at South Florida and know maybe every third year you could get to a college football playoff and you really don't have the pressure that you would have at Florida?
I'll take the $8 million at Florida, do the pressure, and cash that check if it doesn't work out for me. But that's different. I mean, there's big buyouts if it doesn't work out, and Billy Napier will get one. If it doesn't work out this year at Florida. Florida will be better this year. The schedule is just tougher, but I think they'll be better. One thing about Florida in the final segment of the show, Scott Strickland shared something and put the end to an urban legend we'd always heard. If you believe the Florida AD final segment, it will let the cat out of the bag on what is something that we always believe to be true that he says is not true about the Southeastern Conference. That's coming up in the final segment. Before LT does trash, Forrester, can you give me the Notre Dame TV schedule released? And we're going to have to get comfortable with this. To me, Notre Dame has 2 good home games this year. So that means those are the 2 that they control the broadcast rights for at NBC, right? They have Louisville at home and they have Florida State at home.
Yep.
There's their 2 best games. Here is their announcement of kick times. 3:30, which is 2:30 Central for all their games except primetime Florida State and primetime Army at Yankee Stadium. But that Louisville game, their second best home game, what does it say beside it? Peacock only. Peacock only. No NBC. It's NBC Peacock for every game except for Louisville on September 28th. Their second best home game, Peacock only.
Oof. And it's hard for us to say anything. We're on demand, right?
Yeah, we are on demand as well. But I never thought we'd see a big Notre Dame game at home on demand only.
Yeah. And I think I've got Peacock. I know I had it. I can't keep up with it.
I've got it. I don't know why I've got it. I think I got it to watch all the Olympics because they broadcast all the Olympics live on Peacock.
The Office?
They still have the NBC. They still have the NBC coverage on prime time, but in Paris coming up, you can watch in real time. Like if gymnastics is happening at 2 a.m, wherever the Olympics are at 2 a.m, you can watch the events live on Peacock.
Boy, if I'm up watching gymnastics at 2 a.m. and I don't have a relative competing, we got a problem.
Yeah. All right. So there you go. That is Peacock only for that Louisville game there coming up this year. One of their 2 big home games. And it's right there on Peacock only. It's Trash Time, brought to you by Mortgage Right. Let's do it, LT.
Yeah, we have to hit the big button because Adobe just signed me out, asking me to sign back in. So,
well, this trash is brought to you by Mortgage Right. Blah, blah, blah. That's Taylor.
You can't give us one? You're good at that.
Oh, hell
Give us about the climber.
The climber.
The guy that climbed Everest.
We're going to have somebody that climbed Mount Everest, but get this. He's gay. I mean, he's gay. He's blind.
Our trash always brought to you by our friends at Mortgage Right. It is buying season, and Mortgage Right, they are here to help. Veteran founded here in Birmingham, offer loans throughout the country, and while the area they serve may have grown, their commitment to Birmingham and veterans hasn't changed. Before you take the next steps on a new home purchase or refinance, talk with the team at Mortgage Right. One-stop shop. There is no cost or obligation to find out what you qualify for. Call 205-900-7200 or online, mortgageright.com/TNR, NMLS 2239, equal housing lender. South Korea's military confirmed on Wednesday that North Korea has sent over more than 260 balloons carrying feces and trash to the south on Tuesday night, marking the largest ever daily balloon launch from the north.
This is the biggest ever.
How petty is this?
I mean, it's so stupid, but...
Military and police personnel currently collecting balloons that have landed in South Korean territory with packages containing excrement and trash attached to them. Authorities said timers and explosives were attached to a string connection balloons and the trash-filled packages in order to make the balloon burst after a certain amount of time has passed. Now they are also checking whether propaganda leaflets are among the contents of the balloons. Some balloons were still airborne on Wednesday morning.
Now remember, there's a scene, let's see if you can pick the movie. Guy goes to the locker to change after a shower after they're doing their job, and they pull pranks on each other. Guy opens the locker, a big balloon inflates. He's like, very funny, try to shock me. It opens and feces just comes out all over his face. Do you remember that movie?
I don't remember.
Charlie Sheen, Emilio Estevez.
Men at Work?
Men at Work. The other trash guys they hated.
Yeah.
I mean, just after they took a shower, too.
Didn't it take a disturbing turn where they were putting bodies in like garbage cans?
Yeah, well, they accidentally killed a guy with a BB gun. Yeah. And it was a good movie. It was a good, bad movie.
I'll tell you, so I showed the kids Apocalypse Now Memorial Day weekend. I was like, they'd never seen it. They absolutely loved it. But watching a young Martin Sheen, he is really the perfect combination of Charlie Sheen and Emilio Estevez. Obviously, their dad, but it's like the perfect mix.
This does seem very childish of North Korea to do this to South Korea.
I think they've done more childish things than even this, right?
Yeah. What happens now? Does South Korea go back and ring North Korea's doorbell?
You don't go over that border.
No.
You don't touch that border.
So a woman has broken the Guinness World Record for having the world's widest wig, and it's bigger than a small car.
Okay, not widest, the widest.
The widest.
Yeah, like
it measures 12 feet. It was crafted by Helen Williams. It's 11 feet, 11 inches wide. Trails all the way to the floor when she's wearing it. It's so stupid. 31-year-old began working on the project in February. It took her more than a month to complete. At scale, the wig is comparable to the length of a Mini Cooper. Now,
is that your real hair? Did she ever get that when she's in public?
Now, Helen from Nigeria, who created the world's longest wig, made the hairpiece from 800 bundles of Auburn hair, spent nearly $2,500 on the material. I found out last night, another thing we found out at trivia, the Mona Lisa did not have eyebrows.
So we had something in common, me and the Mona Lisa?
Yeah, it's just like when Norm Macdonald played the guy that did the sketch artist for the Unabomber. You saw that, the famous sketch where he's got a hoodie and sunglasses on.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I'm a sketch drawer, but I'm not good with eyes. And I'm not good with hair, so everything I always do is... This is a description of a guy that's on the lam, and he's funny.
So, Donald, you still don't have eyebrows?
I do, but they're very light because they're gray, grayish.
Okay, but they've grown back to where they were?
Partial growth.
Okay. Hosts of an Australian radio show were left horrified after a woman called into their program claiming that she fed her grandmother's ashes to her brother as a, quote, prank. Now, the woman known only as Cheyenne made the confession on Tuesday's episode of Fifi, Fev, and Nick, saying she and her mom first sampled her nan's remains before serving them up to her unsuspecting sibling in a pasta sauce.
Is this vodka? Vodka pasta?
I like vodka pasta like that. So good, right?
Yes.
So, quote, my nan passed away in August of last year, got cremated. Obviously, my family and myself were grieving, so I went over to my mom's one night and thought to cheer her up a bit, let's just taste Nan. After I did it once, I go to my mom to do it. I didn't want to be alone. Cheyenne went on to tell the host that her brother had recently been released from prison, and she welcomed him home by having him taste the ashes without consent. Quote, this is the part I've told nobody. We haven't lived with each other since we were like young kids, so I thought it would be a funny prank. I put Nan's ashes in the pasta sauce. Now, the Twisted Pasta Maker didn't disclose whether she told her brother about the sauce's sick addition, but said she had since sampled her grandmother's ashes again. Cheyenne confessed that it was, quote, a weird addiction to the ashes and believes that eating them helps to connect to her late grandmother.
Yeah, it is a weird thing to do.
But I guess if dude's out of prison, this is probably the best meal he's had, even with his grandmother in it.
I mean, it just
look,
that's not a
people
fun
are
prank,
weird.
dude. I'm going to prank you. You're going to eat your grandmother. That's a funny prank, but I'm not going to tell you about it
Is
either.
it still cannibalism if it's the ashes?
I don't know, but
Yeah.
North Korea's prank was actually
Yeah.
funnier than that one, and it wasn't funny.
But I didn't tell you I pranked you. You don't know you were pranked. I called a radio show and told them they did. That's what I don't understand.
Dunaway, I don't know how much you know about King Edward the 12th.
He was the 12th King Edward.
He was the son of Queen Victoria,
Yep.
namesake of the Victorian era, and the great-grandfather of recently departed Queen Elizabeth II.
Battled gout, I'm guessing.
You're going to love this.
Little
This
bit of
guy,
reception.
a
He's
little
good.
debaucherous.
Yeah.
He was also so freaky, nicknamed Edward the Caresser.
Okay.
Now, according to Edward the 12th, the Prince of Wales and the Women He Loved, a book by historian and journalist Catherine Arnold, Edward had a line of sex workers, socialites, actresses, and aristocrats knocking at his bedchamber. He was also so audacious with his open displays of affection for these women that he designated a pew at his coronation for the, quote, king's special ladies. Now, his wife, very understanding lady, Queen Alexandra, knew of the affairs and showed kindness towards the women she shared with Edward, even allowing his mistress, Alice Keppel, to visit Edward on his deathbed. Much like in Succession,
Yep.
you saw
yeah.
all his women rolling in, right?
They were coming and knocking on his door, according to the story, so he must be a good caresser.
Now, the man's sex life was scandalous, to say the least. One of his prized possessions was his siege d'amour, or sex chair. It was specifically designed for King Edward's interest.
Hold on, let Dennis wait. What's
Okay.
that chair for? What do you use that chair for?
That right there?
Yeah.
That's going to be.
I'm going to tell you, it doesn't even look comfortable to sit on.
Why I'm Rockstar. I think it's going to be, as we like to call it in the old country, doing it king style.
All right, describe that because I'm not from the old country.
Yeah.
I don't know. How would you sit on that chair,
Hey,
Rockstar?
didn't the dude-
It's not for sitting.
So the Jeff Daniels show that I watched 2 episodes, he said it was the worst ending of all time. But early on, I think it was the first episode, he had some kind of gadget where he was pinning people against the wall, right?
Yeah, to help his legs stand up.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
able to sit like on a bike stool almost.
Very strange. This one is for having sex with 2 women at the same time. I don't know how that works.
Somebody did. I'll have to find the picture, but somebody's here laying down, probably front ways.
Somebody's got to be everywhere on that thing.
And
That's a
somebody's
small apparatus.
Below here, lying down. So it's just like you do a, you can mix and match, but it's for 2 ladies. He designed it himself. What was it called? The name of it?
Through it. It was Siege d'Amour.
Yeah, but Rockstar, I cannot play the drums and the guitar at the same time. I mean, I can play the guitar.
Would you try
And then
that?
I can play the drums.
If given the opportunity.
And then I can play the
would you try?
guitar and I can play the drums.
Yeah.
Guitar, drums, but I can't play the guitar and the drums at the same time.
I can show you a video.
Who was I? Was it Da Vinci that I was telling you used to be able? No, I was telling somebody this. He could write.
Yeah, with both hands at the same time.
And draw. Yeah, he
Yeah.
could write with his right and draw with his left at the same time. So if he's able to do that, there are some people. This is not chewing gum and walking. Much more difficult.
This is the caresser we're talking about.
Now I could bring in another person who could help me play the guitar and the drums at the same time. Or they could play the drums while I'm playing the guitar and then we swap.
I love how this is the band talk now.
Yeah.
I got to find the drawings that they had. They had some crude drawings to show you what it would look like.
My man did not need a bullpen. He didn't need any relief. The caresser.
I'm named after him.
I mean, imagine dressing
James
like that.
Edward.
Do you think that's what James Sr. named you after?
Probably so. I am well known as a caresser.
First baser.
Our trash brought to you by our friends at Mortgage Right. If you're looking for a new home, our friends at Mortgage Right here to help. Whether you're a first-time buyer or a seasoned home buying veteran, their great service and low rates make the process so easy. So remember, whether you're looking for your final home or your first home, whether you have a big down payment or need 100% financing, Mortgage Right, one-stop shop for mortgages. Call them 205-902-7200 or visit them online, mortgageright.com, NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
Let's go ahead and spend a little time with Jace Sternberger here in this segment. Big final game coming up in the regular season. But Jace, as he joins the show again, Jace, the season doesn't end this Saturday. You guys have locked up another home game. Tell us about the state of mind going into this final regular season home game for your Stallions?
Especially after last week, we're ready to get back out there and kind of had a good little wake up call, reality check. Everything's fine and dandy when you're undefeated, but when you get hit in the mouth and lose, you kind of some of the weaknesses or dead spots get exposed, and so we've been fixing that this week, and we're just ready to go out there and put the next foot forward.
So overall, and look, you guys accomplished what you wanted to in 2022, going 9-1 and winning a championship, going 8-2 last year, winning a championship. But where do you think this team is overall compared to those two previous teams?
Talent-wise, it's almost, I'd say defensively, it's almost night and day, just the competitiveness in practice, and that's helped us, our offense, this whole year. But, we look at it as it's just how we looked at it last year. It's, a lot of those guys who are on those championship teams aren't here anymore. And so we kind of feel like we got a whole fresh start. This is a whole new team with an identity. And so, we really just want to be the first to do this, especially with the merge, and just really setting the tone for the future to come of, we are still USFL, and, we all do take pride in that as the season's gone on, and some of the other opponents, how they've been just, how they talk and kind of view us. It's definitely more of a chip on our shoulder, but, we all want to do this for each other. Like I said, we've become really close. Our team chemistry is, I'd put it up there with anybody, and that's why I think we're successful.
TheUFL.com, 1 o'clock, Michigan at Protective Stadium this week, and then the conference championship the next week. If I asked you, there are some people that believe this. We hear this before the basketball tournament every year. It was a good time to take a loss before you get into the NCAA tournament. Do you buy into that it maybe sometimes it's good to take a loss so you could learn about, say, your shortcomings?
Definitely. And we were playing with fire against Houston. We were up and never felt like we were really going to lose. But, realistically, it came down to the final minute and they had the ball to drive and go tie. And so we had been getting, we've been escaping some wins, and maybe on the scoreboard it looks nice, but in reality, we weren't really doing what our standard is. And so, I say you never want to lose, but especially when you've already secured playoffs, I guess it's always better to lose before those playoffs start. And so, like I said, we'll find out this week how we respond.
You guys have got two capable quarterbacks, but Adrian Martinez, watching him at the collegiate level, you saw flashes, but, man, he has taken it to another level.
No doubt. And I think that's just Father Time playing his role. Every year you're getting more mature, more comfortable with your capabilities, and you are learning. Like I said, it's football's it's a difficult sport when you start getting into the X's and O's, and sometimes when you go to the NFL or you're at a college level, that can get overlooked in the sense of where they take you out of your rhythm and what you're doing. And so, again, that's why I love the spring league, because it gives players a chance to kind of get back to that cockiness and how they used to play when they were the best at where they were at, and it kind of gives them that confidence boost to hopefully to translate that into the NFL or whatever their next opportunity may be. So I think Adrian's done great this year.
I agree with you. TheUFL.com, Protective Stadium this week. Get your tickets for that and the conference championship game, and hopefully on to the championship game again this year for the Stallions. They would play in St. Louis if they make it all the way to the championship contest. Before you go, we always have to ask you a Texas A&M question. We expect the word to come out later today that Texas versus Texas A&M is going to be Thanksgiving night in prime time. That's old school tradition. Does that make you happy, that prime time Thanksgiving night, to see that rivalry renewed?
We could play at 6 a.m. I'm just excited to get that rivalry back. I'm super excited for the state of Texas right now.
Will you try hard to be at that game?
I'm hoping I won't be able to, just because I hope I'll be playing on a team come this fall. But if I'm not on a team, I will definitely be there. We'll have Thanksgiving. We'll go all out for Christmas this year, but I'm not missing that game if I'm available to be there.
Yep. All right, Jace, man, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us. And we know it's a busy time wrapping up the regular season this weekend down at Protective Stadium. We appreciate you being with us. Have a good weekend and a great rest of the season, okay?
No doubt. Thank you guys for having me on.
Thank you, buddy. Jace Sternberger there with us, former Aggie, former Jayhawk, and a two-time champion with the Stallions. and now trying to do it again, a three-peat, now in a new league there, theufl.com for tickets, theufl.com for tickets. This hour of the show brought to you by Champy's Chicken, right there on Highway 119 in Alabaster. Go by and see Sterling and the crew, champy'schicken.com to find out all the details, check out the menu, and so much more. Highway 119 is Champy's Chicken. When we come back, Florida AD Scott Strickland puts to rest an urban legend that we always thought to be true. That is next right here on TNR.
Take the next round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store.
This hour of the Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
There is no better place to watch your favorite sporting events and enjoy great food than one of the 3 great Birmingham locations of Walk-Ons. The TVs are everywhere with your favorite sports, and the menu is second to none. From the great appetizers like the waffle cheese fries, to the Avery Island salad, handhelds like the all-new Chicken Bomber, bistro specialties with a special taste of the Bayou, the amazing hand patty burgers, the great po' boys, and the specialty drinks. Visit any of the 3 great Birmingham locations of Walk-Ons: Greystone, Stadium Trace and Hoover, and the brand new location in Trussville.
Golf season is here, and if you're looking for a great golf course with affordable rates, you need to check out the newly renovated Woodward Golf Club. Woodward Golf Club is a semi-private club with membership opportunities available, but is also open to the public. You can book tee times online at this hidden gem by going to golfwoodward.com. For only $195 per month, you can enjoy unlimited golf 7 days a week. Membership includes discounted cart fees, unlimited range balls, and the use of our practice facilities. For more information on memberships and the course, check us out online at golfwoodward.com.
Hang out with the Next Round on the go. Whether you're driving to work, running errands, sitting on the beach, or you just need a break from the real world, we can keep you company. Check out the Next Round, Mystery Fifth Hour, and our other shows on your favorite podcast app. We'll meet you there.
Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
Maybe you follow us on Instagram, Facebook, X, LinkedIn, or TikTok. While we're changing the game yet again, Tyler's Telegrams has been developed exclusively for you.
Hi, this is the lovable boy you know as Tyler the Intern. I'm a businessman now. I will come directly to your door and tell you every time a new piece of TNR content drops. For the low, low price of $740,000, you can be notified by me, one of the biggest stars of the Next Round, about that thing you missed. Sure, the rest of those social media services are free, but so is radio, and we all know how well that's trending.
Tyler's Telegrams is currently operating exclusively in Bibb County. Other social media platforms are available everywhere.
All right, here we go. Final segment of the show brought to you by Storm Restoration Roofing. An update, though, first. OKC, Game 1 of the Women's World Series, delayed by weather. They're saying now start time is going to be 12:36 Central. 12:36 Central as the lightning and the rain tries to move out of the area, but it's going to be a weather day out there that it's going to be off and on throughout the day with the first of 4 games, Alabama and UCLA starting right now, hoping at 12:36 for the first pitch between the Tide and the Bruins there. Future SEC Big Ten matchup, but UCLA flying the flag one more time for the Pac-12 in the Women's World Series. Storm Restoration Roofing, when storms blow through like they did here over the weekend, Greg from Pell City should be your first call, 205-542-3531, 542-3531. Greg from Pell City will give you a free, no-cost roof inspection. He gets up on the roof and checks out to see if you got any loose shingles or any other water entry ports or any points or any other damage up there that could cause problems down the road. A free no-cost roof inspection could save you thousands of dollars of trouble in the future. So make that call today, 205-542-3531. He also repairs storm damage, replaces an old roof when it ages out, as they always do, and anything else you need done on your roof. Local crews. In fact, his son and son-in-law on some of the crews themselves. Local crews, locally owned for over 20 years. He's the boss. He's the man. He's Greg from Pell City. Check him out on Facebook as well. Storm Restoration Roofing, 205-542-3531. Scott Strickland said urban legend, not true.
I don't know what the urban legend is.
Always believed, we've always heard this, right, that in the SEC, that certain schools would be able to blackball and or veto a school from entering the league if there was ever discussion of expansion. Say Kentucky could keep Louisville out. Florida cannot keep Florida State out, according to Scott Strickland. Scott Strickland says we do not have a veto. We do not have a blackball. If it makes our conference better, we would welcome our friends from Tallahassee into the league. It takes 3/4 of a vote, 3/4 of the league voting yes to agree on expansion. Usually the way Greg Sankey runs the operation, it ends up being a unanimous vote on everything.
Yeah, I don't know if it was kind of a subtle jab if they make us better, because outside of last year, Florida State has been irrelevant. And much like Sarkisian, Mike Norvell, great year last year, but I want to see if it's staying power. It looks like Florida State's going to take a couple of steps back this year. Much like, Texas ain't going to take steps back. They shouldn't. But I really don't know what Florida State brings.
Other than, a good helmet and a quality opponent on a schedule. You add Florida State to a TV schedule, Florida State playing so-and-so. That makes your TV partners happy because that's another marquee game.
Let me pull it back. If it's inevitable that you're going to expand to 18 or more, then Florida State might make sense because you've only got so many to choose from. But right now it's 16. I mean, if you're just expanding to expand, I don't know how much sense it makes.
Well, you I would imagine, feel like I do, that Florida State and Clemson, both of them are not going to be in the ACC long term, correct?
Both filing lawsuits, I would say that the days are numbered.
Spending thousands of dollars in legal fees right now. So they're eventually going to leave. I was under the assumption that because of South Carolina and Florida, that they would go to the Big Ten, guaranteed to the Big Ten. I still think they go to the Big Ten.
You think Florida State does?
I think Florida State and Clemson both are Big Ten schools.
I just don't know academically if the Big Ten wants that.
Yeah, I think at this point it's about TV numbers.
Well, and you do capture a market that you've never touched before if you're the Big Ten with Florida.
Yeah, Florida would be important. South Carolina not as important, but Clemson becomes a quality opponent, right? You start adding Clemson to the mix of the Big Ten schedule. What does the Big Ten struggle with right now? To me, is marquee games. You got Ohio State, you got Michigan, you got Penn State, you got Oregon, throw the USC brand out there. It gets overplayed for me, but Washington.
Well, the Big Ten is top heavy. It really is.
It really is.
You've got 2 or 3 teams that can win championships. And when you look at the SEC, you can call it top heavy right now with Georgia and Texas and Alabama. But we've seen 7 or 8 teams deep win national championships over the last 25 years.
But if you go down in projections this year, 6 through 10 in the SEC standings, you're going to get down there and you're going to have teams like Auburn's going to be down there, Oklahoma's going to be somewhere down there, Florida. You're going to have some name brand teams that when you pair them up against the top of your league, that's a good TV product. That's a good TV game. In the Big Ten, you get away from those 5 or 6 at the top. Ohio State, Indiana is not a good game.
Well, even those big ones at the top. Iowa and Wisconsin aren't going to draw numbers.
No,
they're just not. And those are 2 of your 2 best programs.
That's right. That's exactly right. That's why them bringing Washington and Oregon in. Remember that was not the first part. It was USC, UCLA, and then Washington and Oregon seemed to fight their way in to get into the expansion. It made their league so much better to bring all 4 of those teams in because it's brand name football and helmets that makes the schedule and the TV partners happier. I got USC playing Ohio State instead of Indiana playing Ohio State. Just better TV product, and that's what it's all about to me. So Clemson, Florida State to the Big Ten, in my opinion.
Was it you that brought up the draft of getting Vanderbilt out for like a Florida State? Can you imagine if the Big Ten could get rid of some of their products?
Oh, yeah, to get rid of the Indiana.
Yeah.
The Rutgers, which I think was a mistake.
Like, you really could come up with a 18-team conference combining. It'll never happen. The Big Ten and the SEC, and your games would be 5 stars every single
week,
game.
Every week. Like even in the NFL, I was about to say like the NFL.
But
in
not,
the
not so
NFL,
much. Jets in Jacksonville, does that do anything
That's
for you?
right. Anything in Arizona usually, not a good game.
Yeah, I mean, if you had USC and Auburn, or you had, Florida State and Penn State, I mean, you would have good games every single week.
Yeah. We will see what the SEC does with expansion in the future, whether Clemson and Florida State ends up being part of the plans or not down the road. But there you go. Scott Strickland saying yesterday at the SEC meetings that he does not have a veto. They do not have a veto or a blackball that would keep Florida State or any other Florida school from joining the league. It just comes down to a 3/4 vote.
I don't think they should. I think in the Big 12 days, I think Texas and Oklahoma could say what they wanted and probably get away with it. But in the SEC, I don't think it's fair to the conference for one team to have that type of voice.
Yeah. All right. We'll keep an eye on softball later this afternoon, basketball tonight. And then, of course, we're back with you tomorrow at 9 a.m. Central Time. If you're wondering about Brown, follow us on our social media platforms at Next Round Live. Taylor Korn, Emily Grace McWhorter, and Brown were teaming up to put a video essay together of Brown actually on the road to Macon, delivering a package of Next Round gear that was bought in our Next Round store, nextround.store. He's making that delivery. That is the second place punishment from our bracket challenge today. So Brown is paying it off. 4-hour drive there, 4-hour drive back to make the delivery.
I can't wait to see what happens there.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm telling you, this is a massive game tonight in the NBA. Because if the T-Wolves win this game, the Mavericks have got issues going back Game 6.
I'm not sure they win it tonight, though. Mavericks should win this game.
Play up right now.
3-1. All right, that's the show. We're back with you tomorrow, 9 a.m. Central Time. Don't forget the Meltdown comes your way at 2 o'clock live today on this platform and on Disrupt the Media. Go look for the Meltdown icon. Click that. 2 o'clock. It's live every day. You can go back and watch the other shows. And don't forget everything else at War Dam Pods, the Village Vice, and, of course, Roll Tide Pods, where Mick and Jake have a new show up over there as well. Mick Gillespie and Jake Coker. It's Roll Tide Pods right there at Disrupt the Media. Go follow, like, and subscribe. Until next time, God bless you and God bless America.